2, 1. What's up, dude?
What's up?
It's good to have you in here finally.
Dude, I'm pumped. This is exciting. You have been killing it with this stuff.
Thank you.
It's just so cool to see somebody doing it locally here in Albuquerque. And I've been telling everybody about it, and they're like, what? That is so awesome. And so to be invited on is truly just, I'm grateful for it, and this is cool.
Well, thank you, man. No, thank you for coming. And before we get into it, let's crack these bad boys
Yes,
open.
sir.
You have good taste. For those of you that are listening on like Spotify and Google, we're having some Elevated. It's a local beer. Cheers,
Yep.
buddy.
Cheers, my
Big
friend.
cheers.
Thank you.
And you had a great sales pitch. Like, you had a great sales pitch from Leroy. And I trust that guy, dude.
That dude is an awesome dude. We met years ago through like business. He was working with another buddy of mine who was a DJ, and they were doing something else. And then I just happened to see him lead singing at a band. I was like, what? Because he was at Marble. They were doing their shows, and I was like, what's up, bro? You're killing it. And so he had seen me DJ at Marble. I had seen Slums at Marble all the time. And so that's a really cool, just kind of random friendship that we've been just supporting each other and all of that. But yeah, we had met each other at a show. And
that's awesome.
He was cool, and so that was fun to meet you there at the Marble and
Funny how that happens, right?
Right.
And that's one of the things before doing this, I was never the guy that went out to bars, went out to breweries, I had my party phase and it fizzled out pretty quick. So I was like, okay, this is too much fun.
Yeah.
And the people that I'm hanging out with, some of them are really good people. Mm-hmm. And it's funny how these things happen because Albuquerque's so tiny. Because some people that I knew back in my party days, I now know as we're going into our late 20s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I've driven you home while you were dying.
Yep.
You've seen me almost die.
Exactly.
And it's like now we're like adults with jobs, but we still go out and we can control ourselves drinking now.
Now we have a little bit more manageable time when we go out.
Yeah.
It's
just funny how how much, no matter how much Albuquerque's growing in population, it's still such a small town.
Oh, I tell everybody that all the time, is that if you grew up here, you're probably going to feel that small town vibe, but it's big enough to have, the Top Golf, a mall, and different things like that.
Finally got a Top Golf.
Yeah, right.
But
Finally.
yeah, it's just funny to me how I keep running into people that I haven't seen in years, or I'll have people come in that obviously there's your case where we were introduced through a mutual friend that I know and I've gotten to know better because of the podcast and because obviously his music and the band. But then I'll have people come in and they'll sit down oh, I saw this episode. I went to high school with this person, or I went to college with this person.
Yeah.
Or they look at the band and like, oh yeah, I know him, I know her, and I dated her sister, or I know her father.
The connections are always so random, but you put your arm out and you probably know somebody in the crowd or whatever.
For better or worse.
Yeah. Hey, amen to that. For real, man.
So before we get into everything we were talking about, before we put the cameras on, if you just want to kind of introduce yourself, what you do, what you've been doing. Yeah. Because you're a full-on entrepreneur, dude.
Pretty much, yeah. I guess that's the way you look at it. Because, I am full-time. So what I do is I'm a DJ. I'm a wedding DJ for a local DJ company here called Cutmaster Music. We do a lot of the premier weddings here locally, and also a lot in Santa Fe as well. But yeah, I've been doing that this is year 9 now. So it's pretty, it's exciting. Wasn't the original company that I was with. A lot has happened in that time. I worked with another company, and then I moved to Phoenix to do more independent stuff. COVID happened, had to move back, and then had a buddy reach out, and he works for Cutmaster, or he owns Cutmaster, and he was like, hey, noticed you're back in town. Let's just talk. And so we've been connected. But then we went through the whole COVID. So we were Twitch DJs for all of that.
Oh, shit.
It was crazy.
How was that? So how long before the pandemic were you DJing?
So I started in 2014.
Okay.
So I had been DJing weddings for quite some time. In the peak of it all, I had done 72 weddings in 1 year, which was crazy. I always say there's 52 weeks in a year. Yeah. And so to do 71 is insane, but that's double Friday, Saturdays, different things. And it's great, but you're running yourself ragged doing.
And without, obviously I'm not asking for a number, but that's got to be a good chunk of change.
You know, it does all right, but that's where there's differences in companies and how you're taken care of. And so when you see, oh, I was doing X amount of weddings and I was receiving this much, and I can do half of that and receive double with this other company. It just kind of,
that's fair.
It made more sense, and just, you know, goals don't align with different companies that you're with. And so you're like, okay, I want to move more independent. And that's where I was headed until COVID.
I'm proud to announce that the podcast is now officially sponsored by the fine people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, this is some of the best chili you can get here in the state of New Mexico, and they are online as well as in stores. They can be found at Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, John Brooks, and Lowe's Corner Market. They have 3 amazing flavors that you see here, and they also have frozen green chili that you can get online. Go on over to the website, chopchilico.com, and get yourself some amazing chili today.
You know, I was doing more nightlife. I was in the clubs. I was trying to just really push myself to get into the festival DJ. That was the whole thing, is get there. So they had, like, what I liked about Phoenix is they had way more exposure. DJs needed everywhere. You know, they had DJs at like American Eagle in the mall.
Well, that's a party city.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Oh,
and then for some reason you can't get business in Phoenix, drop down a couple hours, go to Tucson.
Yeah.
Go to Tempe. I mean, that is just party
Well, dude,
central.
what's nice about Phoenix is that they call it the metro. So there's Tempe, there's Scottsdale, there's Phoenix, there's Glendale. There's all these little cities inside Phoenix, right? And so it's really cool because, I worked at a country bar that was my thing, is I was like, okay, I'm here to DJ. I need to find a DJ job. I'm not here to mess around. And so I found a gig DJing country nights and other nights. You know, I was there for Friday nights, but the big one was the country night on Tuesdays. And it was 5 straight hours of country music where you DJ 1 hour, just working with them, teaching them like line dances. So I'd play the song, but I'd slow the track down, speed it up, work with them. I wouldn't teach the line dances, but I'd work with the teacher.
Yeah.
And so that was great. And then I'd play 4 straight hours of country music, which was all right, but I learned the country style. And that's what was great, because I was allowed to take that and evolve with that. And now I pitch that in my wedding. Oh, you like country music? Well, I DJ'd a country night for 9 months.
Man, that'll turn anybody Republican. Holy shit.
Dude,
4 hours straight of country music.
You'd be surprised. It was fun, though. It was really fun.
Cool.
A good energy of people, and the country swing scene in Phoenix is insane. They're there at all these different bars, and Tuesday night was High and Rye in Scottsdale.
High and Rye, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was the name of the bar. And it was right next to a comedy club, which was really cool. So we'd get like the comedy people who trickle in from there. So that was nice. That kept it like steady, doing DJ stuff. And then I was just trying to find different opportunities and different things like that.
That's cool.
And then moved back.
So what got you into DJing in the first place? How old were you when you first started?
So it's 2014. I was 20. Yeah. So I was 20 years old, going to UNM. I was bartending the UNM games. I used to work for this company called like Sodexo. And they...
Okay. So, hey, Joey, did you hear that? Nope. He used to work for Sodexo.
That sucks.
So, all right. So, Sodexo. So, Joey and I...
That's crazy. What do we got?
Yeah, so for people that have been listening for a long time, I just yelled at the guy who produces Off and On. And me and Joey, we met at a military school. And why we're funny about Sodexo is Sodexo, they do a lot of things. They
really do.
But primarily, they are a food service company.
Yep.
And they supply food to events, to coliseums, to colleges, to prisons. But they also provide food to a little military school about 3 hours south called New Mexico Military Institute, where him and I went.
No way, you guys went to NIMI?
Yeah,
wow.
Where we went there. And the food at Sodexo, like, that was like conditioning for your stomach. Holy shit, that food was so bad. Like there was some food that was fucking great, and you could tell that it was supplemented very heavily by store-bought stuff.
Yeah.
You know? But oh my Christ. Some of that food was like, there was this thing, they called it rainbow chicken. And it was this like obviously pre-frozen. but it was this piece of chicken breast that was supposed to be spicy, and they seasoned it with this like red and green and like hints of blue spices.
Blue?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, and you
shaving blue corn or something?
I have no fucking clue, but
Right.
you ate it, and I don't know how it treated everybody else, but I had like 15 to 20 minutes to get somewhere safe.
Yeah.
Before I just ruined my night.
Oh, no.
It was some of the worst fucking food you've ever had. So you're bartending working at Sodexo at UNM.
Yeah. So
Okay.
they had the contract at the pit.
Oh,
So
that makes sense.
So I just needed a job at UNM because I was in college, and so
What were you studying?
communications.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was there doing that. Lived at Lobo Village. Was doing the whole college scene. I could walk to the pit to go to work. It was great.
Lobo Village. What a place.
Oh, dude, crazy times. Loved
place.
Lobo Village, but man, it was wild. It's just wild. But anyway, I was working there, needed more money, and so my mom actually was finding jobs on Craigslist and found a DJ job and was like, "Look, you like music? Here's a second job I found." I was like, "Oh, okay, let me take a look." And so it was a local company who was just looking for DJs. They're getting bookings and they don't have enough people to staff these weddings, and so they bring them in, they train them how to MC a wedding, DJ a wedding, and just kind of run from there. And I thought it was really interesting because I love music, and so I was like, okay, we'll give it a shot. And so you just show up and we would do weekly trainings and all of this, and that was really where I learned how to run a successful wedding. Like, that's where I had my really shitty weddings. That's where I had a lot of my really fun weddings, but that was where you're in the weeds. Some of my like biggest crash and burns were, in the first year or two, because, you go out there and then you bomb introducing something and then you got to keep going. Right. Yeah. And so that would happen I remember I bombed a grand intro in one of my first years of doing it.
Grand intro meaning?
So when you do a grand intro, you are introducing the whole couple. So you're introducing the wedding party, and so I bombed that. This is your first impression for the whole night. They come in from cocktails, you introduce yourself, and then you forget their names. And you're like, the bride and groom. And they're like, oh, you don't even, you know what I mean?
No.
It was so bad.
Because that wife, the brand new, hopefully newly minted wife, right?
Yeah,
Maybe she's on
right.
the second or third wedding, who knows? But,
Yeah.
newly minted wife walking in with her husband, and she's like, I get to hear my name.
Yeah.
It chased for the first time. The bride and groom. Fuck you.
Yeah, dude, it was so bad. I remember her. She made a comment about it in the post review.
Oh no! She like Yelp reviewed you or
No,
Google
well,
reviewed
so
you?
what we do is we send out a email before we get them to Google reviews. We kind of filter it. We did that, and so we still do that now. But it's a great way to filter bad reviews.
Yeah.
We say, hey, how'd we do? And then they say, you were shitty, but at least it's in an email and not on Google.
Well, my whole thing is like most of the people, it's just like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter comments. Most of the people that go out of their way to leave reviews on Google or Yelp are going out to talk shit.
Yeah, it's very true.
I would say 80% of the time.
We had a couple who was saying, who did that exact same thing. We had a mom. We've talked about it in our podcast, but she gave us a bad review. And we had videos, we had pictures, and we commented on that. And we were like, oh, well, this is the photos and the videos of this same wedding. And it's everyone jumping, having the time of their lives, right? And so it just kind of lets you know it's kind of, people look at it in different ways. And she was like, oh, I was upset. I didn't mean to write that. And so, but Google took it, because you can't ask Google to take it down. The person who wrote it has to take it down.
Right.
So she was able to take it down after we had evidence. But that's why we always say take videos at your events, because not only can you use it for like socials, but you can also.
Well, I mean,
evidence.
Because I feel like people who have a good experience with any kind of service, they tell their friends about it.
Yeah.
They tell their family about it. They'll do whatever about it. They'll post it on their Instagram, but they won't go typically. So you don't really think about it. Not because they don't want to, but that's why a lot of small businesses I've noticed, like post pandemic, a lot of them like ask you like, hey, can you leave us a review on Yelp? Can you leave us a review on Google? Stuff like that. And, because a lot of people, it's like, oh, this was great. I'm going to tell people about it. But if people feel like they're wronged, or if they've had a shitty day and the one little thing went wrong and they want to take it out on somebody, like, fuck these guys. because I'm going on Yelp, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that South Park where Cartman is the Yelp reviewer?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God,
that sounds hilarious.
So yeah, and by the end of the episode, he's trying to cheap out the Chinese restaurant.
Oh,
and he's
no.
like, I'm a Yelp reviewer. You have to give me all the foods you have, and they're like feeding him all these fucking.
Wow,
Yeah,
how funny!
It's hilarious.
It's classic Cartman.
Yeah. But anyway, so you start DJing, and in that first year or a couple years, I guess you're saying that you're really learning. Okay, what's a good wedding? What's a bad wedding?
Yeah.
What constitutes a good wedding?
I think what constitutes a good wedding is really leaving them with this impression that they had fun, whatever that may feel like. But the idea is you want guests to think like, wow, that was such a beautiful wedding, but I had a blast, right? And that's often when we have our sales meeting, we'll have couples, we'll ask them, if you were a fly on the wall, what would you think, what would you hope your guests would say as you were listening to them talk about your wedding? And always, I hope they would say it was fun, memorable, and one of a kind, right? And so they're telling me all these things. I'm like, okay, so that means you want it to be like dancey. Like people look at like people dancing and think that's people having fun. And so I think that comes from great crowd reading, understanding that you need to have a powerful MC who, there's different styles of MCs, especially here in Albuquerque. There's some who are more involved and a little more immersive on the dance floor and kind of just have a little more flair to it. And there's some who are more my style where I feel like it's a little more professional and it's more just kind of this nice voice that's guiding the day, letting everybody know we're going to be going from one event to the next, right? But we'll hear that all the time. Classic. We were at my sister's wedding and the DJ didn't make any announcements. We never knew what was happening. We were sitting there wandering around.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've been to like a handful of weddings, not
Nice.
very many, you know.
Yeah. What about those days stood out to you? Just think about them.
Yeah, I think about the ones I was sober for.
Nah, it's all good. But anything about any weddings, what memories come to mind?
Well, I don't think I've ever been to a wedding where the DJ was like not obviously
bombed?
not control. No, I haven't had any major bombs that way, but I've never experienced a DJ that like choreographed the night, I guess. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
like guided the night. I've never thought about that.
Well,
That's interesting.
we're very much in behind the scenes. We're quarterbacking it, but you would never know that I am your day of planner. That's one of my biggest things is like, oh, do you have a wedding planner? No. Well, we're the next best thing because we're announcing the grand intro, because we're introducing the toast, we have to be aware of the timeline.
Yeah.
So we're going and talking to catering staff. What time are you passing out champagne? Okay, you guys are going to pass it out in 15 minutes. Great. That gives us enough time to let the bride and groom leave for sunset photos. Right as champagne is dropped, we'll go ahead and roll right into toasts. So we're thinking about all of those things so they don't have to. A lot of times at weddings, guests will be like, okay, well, we just finished dinner. What's going on now, right? We call it like limbo or whatever, but we pay attention to those moments and we make sure that the night is really fluidly going forward as well as being a kick-ass DJ, right? Like you're going to get a kick-ass DJ regardless, but you're also going to get peace of mind and understanding that your full day is taken care of, sounds provided, it's premier sound, it's wireless mics, it's all the nice lighting you need, right? We can give you whatever you're looking for. We've got the CO2, the video DJ booth, all the fun things that people see at weddings. We provide that, but we also give you organization and peace of mind because we ask all those questions in our planning meetings and we go through all those details. I have 2 weddings this weekend. I'm driving all the way out to Santa Fe for 1 hour. I always laugh at my Santa Fe rehearsals. So I have a ceremony, right? What I think is different about me than a lot of different DJs is I will go to your rehearsal. I'll hang out there for an hour and I'll just listen. Okay. Sometimes they'll have a question, sometimes they won't, but a lot of times we'll figure out, the mic's going to go from here to here. You know what I mean? Okay, I'll be sure to mic you up or different things. But like tomorrow, we're doing a couple readings. They want to make sure they know where the mic's going to be. So I'm just kind of there, but the drive to Santa Fe is longer than the dang meeting, right? But that's the difference between me. That's why you hire me and somebody who isn't there.
How long did it take you to get this kind of understanding of the job?
Oh, like I'd say year 2 or 3 was where you really understood what like quality meant versus just showing up and trying to get a job done. You know what I mean? But like when you understand that these people are paying thousands of dollars and this is the biggest day of their life, one thing I learned as we were doing this, we would go to like these conferences and stuff. And so we would learn more about sales techniques and weddings and DJs. And it's cool because it's all these different wedding DJs collaborating. And they have conferences in Vegas in October, pretty much every October, called Wedding MBA. And they have photographers, florists, DJs, and they all meet up and they go to the convention center and you go and you learn different things. And one thing I learned there is that a lot of people will buy emotionally in like 3 points in their life. And it's like birth, marriage, and death. And that's why people will more so look at it as like, how do I want to feel in these moments versus like, how much is the price tag? But because people feel like that, you can't take it lightly. You can't, we say it every time. This is the Super Bowl. This is the biggest day of their life. There's no room for error, right? And so like my 2 weddings this weekend, I've been prepping. I was doing music prep today, just going through. I like it. It's music research is what I call, but you're organizing your tracks, getting dinner playlists together, cocktail hour playlists together, and then open dance. So they give you a bunch of Mariah Carey and Dua Lipa, and they're like, make this stuff work, right? And so it's fun. I like that aspect of it. But I also get, like I think I was mentioning it to you, I align with clients who I like now. I'm interviewing clients who want to hear dance music as well as maybe some 2000s hip hop or some pop music and different things. And so now when they hear my style, I'm just DJing out there and I'm not having to be something that I'm not or something like that. So it's exciting now to get to that level. But yeah, it took a while to get what it meant to like be premier. And
so there's a lot of the Barbie album in your playlist now.
Oh, dude. Set list. This year, Barbie has been hitting. I just did Rio Rancho's Homecoming.
Oh, shit.
1,700 kids.
God.
It was wild. I'm telling you, this was nuts.
1,700 kids go to Rio Rancho High.
I think so. I mean, they have to. That's what the staff told us. So that number might have been exaggerated.
Because is prom... So... Because I didn't go to a traditional high school, and I've always been told that prom is traditionally the juniors and the seniors.
Yes, homecoming's the big one that everyone can go to.
Right. So with the high school, so you said high school. You said Rio Rancho homecoming or prom?
Homecoming.
You did homecoming.
I just did homecoming this past week.
That makes more sense then.
Yeah.
Okay, because you've got all.
Did I say prom?
Now I'm starting to question myself.
No, I've been telling everybody, dude, I've been out of school for so long, I default to prom every time,
Yeah.
And I've been telling everyone, oh yeah, Rio Rancho's prom I did. Oh no, what is it? It's October. It's homecoming now, right? But it's their big day.
Yeah, so you did their homecoming. That makes more sense. It's like it's all four. It's still 1,700 in one school.
Well, they have the middle school as well, so I'm wondering if they allowed like the 6th and the 7th graders to trickle in.
Got a bunch of dorky little smelly 7th graders running through the room.
I hate the kids' dances. My girlfriend, I don't mind. So my girlfriend, she works for an after-school program, and we'll do like mini dances, mini raves. And so she does K through 5, and they're okay.
Well, it doesn't need to be a lot either.
It's easy.
I mean, they're little kids.
We're playing It's Raining Tacos. God. It's hilarious, honestly, because these kids are losing. I'm playing stuff that I think they would dance to, and I'm like, why aren't you dancing to this?
Yeah, Kids Bop 55.
And then I play It's Raining Tacos, and these kids lose it, right? And so, the middle school kids are different. I don't take middle school dances if I don't have to. High school is dope. I love those ones. I do a big one every year with a buddy of mine where they do all of the, the student council or whatever, but they take all the student council reps from all the high schools, and they do a big conference every year. And so I do that in February. And that one's crazy too, because they have like totems. They're all repping their school colors, and that one's fun.
It's gotta be funny doing high school dances. You're actively watching a lot of these kids have their first drunk experience. And you can see it. Yeah, and you're picking it out on the crowd.
It's so funny that you say that.
Like, how did the dorky kid get? That's how you got confidence.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
bud. I'll see you in the bathroom in an hour.
You see shooters on the floor, and you're like, you bitches.
That is what killed me about when they made the law that the shooters aren't going to be made and they can't be produced anymore. So what did the alcohol companies do? They made better shooters.
They did.
They made better, a lot of the time, glass shooters.
Yeah.
And they're like 50 cents more. They're a little bit bigger.
But what are they, like 1.5, 2 shots now?
Yeah.
Because a traditional one, I think, was 1.5 actually.
Yeah, it was a serving. No, it was like a shot and a half.
Sure. Yeah.
You're right.
But now they're like 2.5.
Exactly.
That works out.
And you can get like, they sell them at Walgreens. They sell these. It's maniacal.
I like the 12-pack of Tito's at Total Wine.
I was going to say the 20-pack of Fireball.
Oh.
I hate Fireball, but I see that above the liquor counter. And I'm like, okay, that's the perfect example that government doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that is ridiculous.
Because you're just going to work around it and different shit like that.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, so you're finally getting about year 3 or 4 DJing.
Yeah,
you're
and
really...
that's, what was cool too was I started with a credible company. So we started gaining traction and we started learning how to kill it locally. So we were winning Best in New Mexico every year, all throughout those years. And we started doing well. And it was exciting for us to start doing that in 2016, it was 2015, 16, and 17. We won it for 3 years.
And then when do you move to Phoenix?
2018.
So 2018, you go to Phoenix.
Let's see. Yeah. Actually, I think it was 2019. Yeah, 2019 fall. My bad.
How much of a plan did you have going out there?
A little bit of a plan. I had a friend out there who was like, yo, there's DJ opportunity out here. You need to get the fuck out here. And I was like, okay, I've never lived outside of New Mexico. Why the hell not? And
Did you know anybody professionally out there?
I knew 2 bar managers. One was like, yo, I got opportunity up the ass. Come through. And never heard from him after. Once I got to Phoenix, ghosted me. I was
Funny
like, what
how that works out, right?
And as a DJ, you hear that a lot. And year 9, this is year 8 or 9, yeah.
Keep going. I'm just gonna check the cameras.
You're good. I just hear it a lot, and so people talk and all this, but it just goes to show actions speak louder than words and all that stuff, right? But yeah, I moved there in fall 2019, and it was cool. There was I found that other bar manager. I kept hassling him, and just like the old phrase goes, what is it? Squeaky wheel gets the grease. You just bug the shit out of them until they give you an opportunity. And he finally got me in there. And I told him, they were like, country music? Oh, yeah, I could DJ country music. I had maybe DJed country. I mean, I had DJed country at weddings and stuff, but I wasn't no expert. But the way I told him, I was like, oh, yeah, I know it. I'm good. And so got that opportunity and then just started, it was cool. They had Relentless Beats is one of the local guys who are doing it out there, very similar to Viva ABQ. They collaborate all day. They were putting on a show or a showcase where you could submit a mix for 20 minutes or whatever. They would listen to your mix, and then if you got chosen, you got to compete in this competition. So out of 300 mixes, my mix got chosen, and then you got to compete with I think it was 15, 20 other DJs.
And where's this getting hosted at?
It was at Casa in Tempe.
How big of a venue is that?
This one's sick. This one, I don't even know what Casa can house or what that, but it's one of the bars on Mill.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? One of the parties. It's definitely if you've been to Tempe and you've been in that Mill Ave area, you've definitely hit Casa.
Yeah, it's frequented.
Yeah. And so it was cool that they had that there. My mix got chosen, which was already insane. And so this was for the Phoenix Encounters or whatever. And so we got to put together a 10-minute mix and DJ and all of that. And what was cool about it, what was also kind of shitty, it was good. They allowed you to bring in your own DJ controller. And so I didn't have the confidence to be on CDJs that what traditional professionals were on at that time. And so I didn't have access to CDJs. I didn't feel confident practicing.
What's a CDJ for people listening?
CDJ is going to be Nexus 2000. CDJ is going to be very standard DJ software. The stuff Diplo uses, Dylan Francis, Tiesto. These big boys are using these big mixers and these big turnstile DJ decks. And so they had that available, and that's very standard in every nightclub. So as a DJ, I needed to get more fresh with it. I needed to get more comfortable with it, I should have said. But they allowed you to bring your own DJ software and DJ controller. So I bring my own. I killed my set. I won fan favorite. It was cool because then you won an extra $200 cash, and that was great, right? I was in the final 3, but I have a very strong feeling that because it wasn't on the CDJs, it wasn't the next step was you were going to open at Phoenix Lights or whatever. You win this, you have an opening set at a festival. And so I got to the top 3, won fan favorite, and then just didn't win. it's all good. You know how it goes. But I was happy to be there because it's not easy to get a mix chosen out of like 200-300. And then to be there to get that exposure, I still look at those videos today. I can see my logo, Xia, and all that. And so it was just so sick to be a part of that. I had family from New Mexico drive all the way up to Phoenix because I had to get like they were like, you got to get at least 20 people on a guest list.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah, and I literally just moved to Phoenix, so I had some homies. I actually had my bar homies at High and Rye that I were at. Shout out them, they were dope. And they were fresh friends. I just met them, and they also were supporting me there. I told if you are on my guest list, I'm going to make a custom shirt, and I'm going to get you a shirt. These shirts are custom, and so like I was really trying to incentivize people to go. But then my family showed up, and it was a really good show. You pulled time slots out of a hat. I got like midnight, so I was like, oh, people are gonna like. Some people got 8 p.m. and just got the shit end of the stick. You know what I mean?
That's got to be rough.
Yeah, because you have this awesome set, and there was like 2 people there, and so I was like, okay, I got midnight, so I ain't even mad. So like it was good to have the numbers there and have that cooperate with you or whatever. But I needed to be better on CDJs, and that really opened my eyes to get better on that so I can perform at different spaces, and then it opened up for me to have confidence to DJ at like FX and different things like that. So
okay, and so you go from that competition, you end up getting with a company, right?
Yeah.
And you're with them for about a year because you mentioned that COVID happens and you have to come back. So
exactly.
A little over a year probably?
Yeah, so I would say like I hopped on like 2020 January, right?
Oh, man.
So we're feeling good. Chris is like, it's down season, of course. Nobody's getting married in January. April, May, June, peak. And then also August, June, September, October, peak.
So you guys were probably like gearing up.
He's like,
and
it's coming.
Preparing.
We had a great year. It's coming. I need more help. I need good DJs. And so I was like, great, let's go. And so COVID, we become Twitch DJs. We just started doing that. We built our following there.
So I was gonna ask that. How mentally, how do you go from going in front of crowds and people, and you're getting this real emotional, visceral reaction, and you're doing not only are you doing like some bars and clubs, but you're like you said, you're performing at these people's most important days of their lives.
Yeah.
Whether it's round 1, 2, or 3, who knows? But it's their most important day of their life. Either way, one of, right? Yeah. Definitely top 3.
Yeah.
And so you've got people crying. It's
very memorable.
You've got people falling in love all over again. You've got the whole spectrum.
Bridesmaids, groomsmen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you've got the entire spectrum of positive emotion happening.
Yeah.
At these days, and you're just doing that over and over on repeat for years. And now the government shuts everything down. We're in a pandemic. There's a weird virus going around. And now you're DJing to no one.
I mean, it took even a lot to just get to the point to DJ, but like, I love to DJ. Yeah. I have to DJ. That's just a personal thing that I can't get over. And I love being on those decks, mixing, mashing up. So why not just put a camera in the corner and hit record, right? Now, it's a lot more complex than that because you got to work with broadcasting software, a nice camera, good lighting, making sure your audio is clean going into the broadcast. And so there was levels to it, right? I love looking at my Instagram and seeing the first one and then looking at the last one because I was like, damn, I got good at it because it was cool. And it allowed me to now, like we have transformed OBS is what a lot of people use for Twitch. I use it now for my video casting software for our DJ booth. So
that's what we use when we do a live pod.
Yeah, love OBS, dude. Clean software, works really well.
Blows my mind that it's free.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that because one day it won't be free. That day's coming. Yeah. I don't know when, but that day's coming, and I try not to put it out there too much.
It happened to me with SoundCloud is really strict on like mix, like copyrights and all of that. Yeah. Had a strong SoundCloud, was killing it. It got wiped. Oh no.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
My bad, dude.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
So it got wiped, and so I was really down on. I was like, I can't put mixes out. SoundCloud's going to take it down. All this. So I found this website called Mixcloud, but it's the same thing. It was free, great mix. upload all the mixes you want, and now there's a paid version, and
It's a
it's
subscription service,
yeah,
right?
yep.
You don't just buy a software.
15 a month. No,
Yeah.
you don't just buy a software anymore, dude.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's a subscription service. Insane. So
Yes, we're doing Twitch.
what were the main technical humps you're getting over? What are the main techniques you're having to either relearn, master, or completely learn brand new between, or I guess compared to doing it in person for a live audience and then now doing it for a digital audience?
I think what was way different was the amount of interaction that was necessary on a Twitch-like broadcast versus you got to be entertaining. And so my music there's a lot of other things going around on a wedding. There's ambiance, there's a bar, there's maybe an activity to do, or
there's a general feeling in
yeah, exactly. And so when you're just at home and you got the DJ up on the phone or whatever, you have to be engaging, you have to be fun, and you have to do things different that can allow them to want to keep watching, right? We would do us DJing inside of a boombox. We would do different sets, right? We would do GIFs. I remember Among Us was massive, so we had the Among Us characters dancing with us. Like, we would do different slides. We would have different nights where we would do collaborative stuff. It was actually sick. Where I loved that because we had like all three of us in our office. We have an office like over. It's in the center of Albuquerque. But anyway, we're there. We're setting it all up because we're not doing meetings anymore. So we're like, just set up the green screens. We'll just all do a collaborative thing. And we're just DJing off of each other, which was sick because it allowed us to get better as DJs and learn how to like collaborate and communicate when you're not always DJing on the same decks. So I'd be like, what BPM are you at? 108, 108, 105? Okay, cool. So I'd like be listening and then I'd boom. And so you'd figure out how to transition and do all that and collaborate. And we would create mashups that we would never think would happen. And that was so fun. But yeah, I'd feel like a lot of the technical things were through audio, trying to figure out how to find the right lines, getting the right mixers, and because you didn't want to commit to buying anything too crazy, you just wanted to make it work with what you had. But we had a fair amount of things. So I was like, we got a webcam. I got my phone. I used my phone for pretty much all of it because OBS has a really cool broadcasting app. I think I had to pay for it. It was like $10 or whatever, but it was worth it. But I loved that. It allowed me to do different opportunities to DJ for different people. We were doing like grad parties virtually.
So that's what killed me. I had a lot of friends that
during that time
graduated during the pandemic, and I was like, dude, because for me, like the walking on a stage and all that stuff didn't really matter all that much. It was just more of the fact that you were there with your friends.
Yeah,
that was the bigger part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a couple friends that were like, because they went to these massive colleges.
Mm-hmm.
They hardly fucking knew anybody, and they're just going to school and doing their thing. It's like, I fucking worked so hard. I was good. And I'm like, yeah, I can empathize.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me. I dropped out of college 4 fucking times. I got my associates. I'm chilling. Whatever.
Nice. What do you have it in?
But Crim J.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thanks. But yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a participation trophy. But
no, it's all good.
But I felt bad for those people that were because I had gone to that military school for 6 years. So I knew a lot of people that were graduating the college in 2020.
Okay.
And then I knew like a couple of people that had reached out here and there that were graduating the high school as well. And I was like, fuck, dude, I'm sorry. That blows.
Yeah.
Like that really fucking blows.
It was devastating for my cousin. He was one of them. And, I just felt bad for him because a lot of those experiences are just taken from you. And it sucks because, you can choose not to go to them and that's fine. But for it to just be...
It's not an option.
Yeah.
Choice.
Yeah.
Choice is a big thing.
Exactly.
Was there anything that you've tried doing on the virtual streams that you were doing live that just didn't translate to the virtual sound or the virtual display of it? Like, was there anything that just did not translate well?
What I guess when I think about it, it all did pretty okay. But like when I would have the camera on, when I would have bad angles and not a green screen, that didn't translate well. You wanted it to be clean and good looking. But for DJing, it actually worked out pretty well because you were able to just kind of entertain while they cooked dinner. Like you cook dinner and you throw my Twitch stream on, so you're enjoying yourselves and you're enjoying a nice little live mix, right? And then got it to the point where they were making comments and then their emojis would pop up on my face or like whatever, right? You try to make it more, you see what they're doing on video games or what are good guys doing in these spaces. And so you see different people commenting and doing different things like that. But the way it was explained to me too is like, think about like a bar. Think about a small intimate bar with maybe 15, 20 people. That bar can feel honestly amazing if you're killing it, right? So you may only have 20 people on your stream, 15 people, and you're like, my numbers are low. But those are 15, 20 people locked in. Think those are people in your room right now, like enjoying it. They might be doing something else, but like that's actually pretty awesome because if you put that same amount of people inside a small bar, you're killing it. And that's an amazing vibe that's unmatched, right? And so that's just kind of how you had to look at it. It was a big mental game on, is this enough? Am I not doing it? Move back home with my mom, you know what I mean? And so you'd go through all of that crazy stuff where you're just like, is this enough? Because this is year 7, year 8. Big commitment. I've been doing this for a while. And so I was committed. And that's why I'm pretty proud of myself now because, killing it on the wedding side and still doing a lot of nightlife and all of those things. But yeah, it's been exciting because COVID was just such a fucking wild ride.
That was exactly what just came to mind. What built your mental resilience, do you think?
I don't know if if we're talking about building mental resilience, it was high school basketball. You know what I mean? It was shout out Coach Brown. He's Volcano Vista coach, high school ball. But this dude, I still think about it today about being, having integrity, being resilient, pushing through the weakness, all of those things you try to be better about. I always, whenever I hear all of those quotes, see something on TikTok, I can always refer back to my high school basketball days and the discipline that was instilled in those times. Like if we're thinking about building, right? But if we're thinking about what really got through it was the music, man. And it sounds corny, it sounds hippie as hell, but I love listening and dancing. And I feel like my energy really was felt through the stream. I had a lot of loved ones who were, supportive of me. They were there for me to like watch and all that, right? But just to, I guess, having those friends, having those people, and just, I guess, wanting to improve, wanting to make the stream better. And it was nice because it kept you busy. It kept it in a time of only having video games. That was great. Don't get me wrong. I actually had never played Red Dead Redemption 1 and played the full thing and was like,
dude, I have not played, and I still haven't since, but I've not played that much video games since probably high school, like sophomore year.
Right.
Before high school started getting a bit challenging.
Yeah.
Sophomore year of high school and below. Like, I remember.
Sophomore year was me too. Modern Warfare 2. I was just.
Yep. Like, fuck, dude.
Zombie.
I played through the pandemic. I played like all of Dark Souls 3, all of Bloodborne.
Nice.
I think I beat Bloodborne like 3 times.
Nice.
I ran through so much fucking League of Legends. Oh my God, it was dumb.
Yeah.
Good
old gaming days. Dude.
Yeah, it was.
I miss it.
And it just got to the point where I was like where I was reading, because where I was down in Texas at the time.
Okay.
And obviously everything was locked down. There were no gyms that were open. And because I can't talk a whole about where I was living, but let's just say the authorities in my area were very strict.
Yeah.
And I remember I went running on a track next to where I was living, and they pulled up on me. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing outside?" And I'm like, I don't want to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Because, and this had happened like right after all the George Floyd stuff went down.
Okay.
So I know that these people are already
tensions
tense.
are high.
Yeah, they're
right?
already like
exactly.
tense. They're already like, people have been shitting on the police for years, and now it's even worse, and we're all locked up, and da, da, da. So I don't want to be a dick. But I came off like a dick. Like, I know you ever like say
hard not to.
Well,
but
it's like you ever say something to someone, and you watch the words leave your mouth, and you're like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
fuck."
Yes, exactly.
Because he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What does it look like?" And he got out of his car. I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm sorry, I was running." I was like, "I'm running.
Yeah.
I have my headphones. I'm wearing shorts. Like I'm thinking my left nut's almost hanging out right now, dude. Like these are my running shorts from high school.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think it was gonna be out here. Like, can we not do this?
Like, geez,
But
yeah.
he was like, "Well, we could be outside do the public order." I'm like, "All right, sounds good." And I just hopped in my car and split. Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Fuck that, whatever." I can only do so many push-ups, so many sit-ups. I can only do so many pull-ups on my door before I end up either like giving my hands splinters or I rip it off the hinges.
You need to be outside. There were times where you just needed to be outside.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm doing all the push-ups and sit-ups that I can and all the pull-ups that I can. I've played so many video games and I've read damn near all my comics. I am fucking dying here. Like, can we get on with life? So as life does carry on through the pandemic and you get things are opening back up, and New Mexico,
Dude, it took a while.
New Mexico didn't open up until like the middle of 21.
We couldn't have weddings, any kind of thing. I did two very, I don't say they're probably illegal. I don't know. I did one in July of 2020.
I mean, hey,
This bride didn't give a shit. She was like, I'm having guests. We're going to do it. If you guys are down, we're down. And we're like, okay.
You walk in, there's just a giant MAGA banner. And it's like, oh, yeah.
Here we
yeah,
go.
Sounds good.
They're actually really nice, really sweet.
I like shitting on both sides.
Yeah,
so.
no, you good. No worries.
And let's be honest, even if they were illegal, then nothing about that time was illegal.
Fine.
Right. But
Yeah.
if it was illegal, this is about as good as time as any to recognize how much power our governor truly has.
Yeah.
That stupid gun ban lasted a week and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Until people were like, "You're fucking retarded."
Dude,
like
you
stop
can't
it.
just be doing that. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, so who gives a shit, right?
Yeah,
so
it's
you do one wedding in July of 2020, and then when's the next one after that?
October.
October.
I did, and that was a family friend.
That's
so
awesome.
they were like, we want to do it. We don't care. We've got a friend who wants to do it in their backyard. We can use their whole venue, a big old house off Paseo, way in the Heights, and
nice.
like, we're gonna do it, right? And so we're like, okay. So I did it, and now those were my two that year.
And then because again, we didn't as a state lift the COVID.
21. It took a little while to
Because it was like April or May-ish when they were like, okay, do things but with a mask. And then it wasn't really until like September that it was like no mask.
Exactly. So we did maybe 2 or 3. We didn't have too many. And what was tough was we had a lot of brides who had booked, because weddings are often a year in advance, 6 to 8 months. They're booking us out for July 2020, June 2020. Oh, canceled. So what we did is we had to reshape the whole contract. We had to redo everything because
I was going to say, I feel like it'd be a better conversation to say, hey, and just be frank with your clients and be like, hey, nobody could have expected a public pandemic. So instead of just giving you your refund on a deposit, let's just postpone this.
And that's exactly what we did.
That I feel like that's an easier conversation than saying either as a business owner, it's like, oh, fuck, I don't want to refund this. But then like,
well, it's
tough
tough because
pandemic.
We own the building, so we had to keep the lights on at the house, right? And so because we own the shop and all of that, we didn't really want to give them back the retainers, and so we're like, how can we make sure that we honor these things? So we had to push all of those dates to 2021. So anybody who wanted to book us, we're trying to play catch up from last year, and that still trickled in. And then finally, May 2022 was when we started to fully go. September we're starting to go. We're like, okay, here we go. It's picking up. We're in our season. We've got 4 or 5 now.
But then it slams to a halt about November. Yeah, October, November is when it starts to slow down.
You transition into corporate.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Christmas parties, holiday things, and also too, you do have time to take off. But also New Year's is a big one. We have a big wedding that we're looking to do for one of the United players.
Oh wow,
and he's getting married on New Year's.
Good for him.
Right?
Cool.
That's stuff like that. January, dead as fuck. We even discount our prices in January because we're like, take anything. But also too, it's a good time for us to recharge, plan for the year. You know what I mean? Get ready and get ready to crush it. And now that you've been doing it for so long, You understand your peaks, your valleys. I
Right.
got to get better at budgeting.
I was literally about to say that I'd imagine that the budgeting aspect of it, you have to get. I mean, obviously,
challenge.
Like obviously, any
still-
business, I'm not saying anything revolutionary here. You have to get your budget down, but especially if your business isn't on a consistent track, like you know that okay, in 90 days, I'm gonna have half my clients, a quarter of my clients. Okay, in 60 days, in 30 days, estimated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's cool that you're gonna do that. You guys still. That's cool that you still do like corporate stuff and like nightlife stuff.
Oh, dude,
That's
corporate
awesome.
is money. I love doing a corporate event on a Tuesday.
That's what I've heard from my comedian friends.
You show up on you show up, kill it, it's so easy. And then it's easy work. You know what I mean? And corporate always has money to play with. They're very straightforward with their budget, and that's what we've learned.
Yeah.
Here, I got you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. And it's funny you mentioned United because I want to I don't give a.
Have you ever been?
No. No, I know. And that's what everyone tells me because I don't give a solitary shit about soccer.
You don't have to.
But I have heard the events are insane.
The
and
energy, bro.
And I want to get one of those players in here to be like, hey,
Yeah.
how does it feel? Like, how does it feel to be a soccer player in New Mexico? Because obviously, the Hispanic, Mexican, Latin American culture,
Yeah. The team is doing
loves soccer. So it makes every sense in the world that team got
the only
so
thing
welcome.
we have is the Lobos, and so
You know what's so funny?
it's tough.
Whenever sports come up in New Mexico, it's all we have is the Lobos. Nobody gives a fuck about the Isotopes anymore.
you know you don't. I love a Topes game,
But nobody. Okay, but
they're not competitive.
they're not competitive.
I haven't heard anything about Isotopes like being in a championship or like winning. I actually saw them on ESPN. He caught they were on top 10, the number one play. We were at a DJ conference in Arizona, just like in July, and I was like, oh, top 10, let's watch, right? And so we watched, and the number one was an Isotopes player catching like a game-winning. He robbed a home run or something. I was like, fuck yeah,
that's our one for every 5 years.
Yeah. You know, what's funny is I posted me at the Isotopes, and I have a buddy, he DJs in California, does all the stuff at Disneyland and all of that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's really cool to have these connections. We can talk about it. But I have these, we're part of this group called Think Tank, and it's a national group of DJs where we collaborate.
I've heard of that.
Yeah?
That's funny.
No way.
I think so.
You've heard of DJ Think Tank?
I think so.
awesome.
It rang a weird bell.
Sure.
Yeah.
Either way. But what it is it's a national level collection of DJs who are crushing it in their local market. So we have the whole Southwest. That's kind of our area. But there's people in Phoenix who are killing it. My buddy Qatar, he does a lot of stuff at Disneyland and Six Flags. But then we've got the homie JW at Disney World. We've got Kristen at RDJ Rocks. She runs a wedding DJ company that's all female DJs in Miami, in Florida. Crushing.
Oh, I'm sure that's booming.
Right? But then we get all yeah.
I'm sure that's booming.
Dude, we have a female DJ on staff, and people will hire her just for being a female. But also, she's a badass DJ. She's doing festivals, she's doing different things. But we have her on staff because we know that she can kill the female market as well. So yeah, we have all of these different DJ connections and all of that. But when we talk Isotopes, so Qatar, I posted something on Instagram, and he goes, "Dude, is that The Simpsons?" And I'm like, "Actually, yeah." And so I had to like do history and realize like, oh shit, we're named after like the Simpsons team. And I saw the little clip of the episode and all that. So
because it's funny because like
I like a Topes game.
I mean, I don't know if it's funny, but like people go to the Isotopes to hang out. It's like a giant bar.
It's nostalgic, and it's a giant bar with
Yeah, that's a good way to, because I remember when, I don't know if it was when the Isotopes first started, but I think a lot of people our age, between the ages of maybe 24, 25, and like 38, remember going to the Isotopes games in like back end of elementary, middle, or high school, somewhere around there.
Well, they were the Dukes before that.
Right.
I've got a Dukes bat.
Oh, shit. Okay, so there you go.
Child, right?
Right.
Baby.
So everyone remembers going to that when it was kind of a thing. But after a while, if I had to guess, maybe around 2011, 2012 is when it kind of going down a little bit.
Yeah.
In attendance and interest. And and at the same time, maybe around like 14 or 15-ish, they started remodeling the pit more.
Yeah.
They started building that a little bit more.
They did the whole, what was it? The pizza guys. Remember they renamed the pit?
Oh, yes. Right.
I can't remember it.
Yeah, they renamed the pit. Everyone still calls it the pit, though.
Right. It's because it's
And
the pit.
it's
Yeah,
the pit.
exactly.
And so that's when like the interest started going down. But you're right. I think a lot of people go for that nostalgic, like, oh, I used to come here as a kid, so
Also,
I'm going to take.
I like a live baseball game. I don't watch baseball. I like sports. I'll watch football. I'll watch basketball. Soccer, I can watch it, but it's okay. But like live baseball, dope. You know what I mean?
See, the last time that I went to an Isotopes game, it was like maybe I think it was around this time last year. Honestly, I got invited by a friend of mine, so we go. And we were just hanging out, having a couple beers and talking, and then it was like, all right, baseball. And then we back to our conversation.
You know, it's funny because that happened to me. But what I liked about it was there was, at the end of it, a good game. Like there was that you have these conversations and all of that, but then you're like, oh, shit. He hits this. We win it. You know what I mean? So there's like that.
The game I was at, they lost 13-2.
And you know, bro, like that happens so often. It's so often.
I shouldn't be laughing, but like it was so bad.
It's frustrating because I was lucky enough to experience a good game the last time, but dude.
Yeah, but thank God for the United guys because they've brought a lot of They brought a lot of business. They brought a lot of.
Oh, and you have to go to these games, bro.
Yeah.
I don't get soccer. I like watching.
Where do they host them?
At the Topes. At the Topes.
Is it at that field? No shit.
Yeah. So they'll.
I had no idea.
You gotta. I think there's like a what is it? I can't think of the word, but they do a fast forwarded video of them turning it over from a baseball field.
Like a time loop.
Thank you, time lapse.
Time lapse.
We got there together.
Yeah. So no shit, they renovated from a baseball field into a soccer field.
They just lay grass, and sometimes you feel bad because the grass is kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a big debate. Have you heard of the big stadium debate in all of Albuquerque? Oh, dude,
Do they want to turn it to the United Stadium?
So they want to build their own stadium, but where they want to put it is major controversy. There was a vote.
Is it like Native American land?
No, it's here in Albuquerque. So they were thinking like maybe they want to put it downtown, or maybe they want to put it somewhere else. But then everyone's like, you shouldn't be spending money on a new stadium. You should be spending money on helping poverty.
That's facts. I'll be honest. Like, if we weren't as fucked as a city as we were right now,
it's tough.
That's kind of facts. I get that.
Yeah. So there's the argument that it can bring more money, but then also too, you're spending your money in the wrong.
How much are you spending? Yeah. And then in the second point, it's okay. Look, I would love for there to be because an official stadium means more jobs. It means more everything. I get it. It looks better, whatever. But for now, if you can just literally roll out a new field and more asses go to seats than they would on an Isotopes game, there's an argument to keep doing that and fix the social issues we have.
Yeah.
Because I was raised Republican. As I've grown up and as I've kind of tried to learn and really like figure out what's actually going on around me as much as I can.
Yeah, right. Just generate your own opinion. Really.
Yeah, I've found myself center leaning left more on like you know what? Like I see the hard work aspect. I see the build your own name. I see that, but then I also see the people are born into horrible situations.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point.
And that's what kills me about like old school Republicans where they're like, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Yeah. Like, you realize that's a mockery of like the statement. It was made to be a mockery of capitalism.
Yeah.
It's not a literal pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's like put on your boot, keep your weight down, and now pull yourself up by. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Your whole body has to lift the leg. That's the whole point of the statement. It takes the whole body to lift up the appendage that's hurting.
Yeah.
And I just think it's hilarious when people use the pull yourself up by your bootstraps thing. That always rings in my head. But anyway, so I haven't heard of that debate in town.
It's actually pretty hot. You'd be surprised. It was a vote. You could have went and voted on it.
No shit.
I swear you could. I did. I voted on it.
No shit. I mean,
but it's all good.
I see the argument against it.
It's frustrating, bro, when you see the art and how that was implemented and done. And
the actual art bus system,
the art
dude,
rail system.
it was
such a shit show.
So because that was summer of 2017.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, but
when you think about how the city does things, you're like, that's your example.
Well, exactly. So they did it in the worst way possible. So it's funny. At the time, I had just graduated from junior college, and I was working literally at that Central Grill and Coffee House. Yeah. I used to work there. And I worked there that summer into December, I think. Yeah, December. And apparently, like, and the owners had told me this, and the workers that had been there since the get-go had told me this, like, their business was boom. I mean, they still do, but they had fucking phenomenal food. Amazing food.
Yeah.
But they had built a name for themselves very quick.
Yeah.
And so, but their business just got hindered like crazy because of all the construction. So people avoided that area. A bunch of businesses like really lost a lot of money because of that. So I think about that and I'm like, okay, maybe it'll be, because I get the idea of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Let's see if it works out. But now, I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. All it really is you're shuttling homeless people up and down Central. And I get it. They deserve transportation. They deserve to be able to go up and down. And I'm sure there are people that have jobs that use it. I get it. But at the end of the day, like, what was it for the first 18 months? The art bus was just crashing into civilians left and right.
That's all you saw in the news was boom. It was people not getting the lanes.
Yes. So it was the art bus hitting people hitting the art bus. And this is coming off the heels because that was happening in like 18-ish. And in like 2016, APD had just recovered from that like string of incidents that summer where those cop cars were just smashing into people. There was like 5 in the summer. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you as drunk as the civilian drivers?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Damn. So yeah, that's a great example. Is you see how this city management and the city planners.
It's frustrating.
I don't understand how you fuck up a more or less straight line.
Yeah.
How do you fuck that up?
I was pretty excited. I remember thinking about it in my college days. I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be like a rail line, like Phoenix.
Or San Diego.
And any kind of rail line, you know what I mean? And so I thought, oh, we'll party in Nob Hill. We'll hop on the rail, get downtown, right? And
that's what it should have been.
Yeah.
That is what it should have been. Like, and that would have made so much more sense to make it a trolley, a rail line that shuttles. And again,
do the same shit.
Like, our homeless problem is bad. You're gonna get like vagrants on, and that happens. Whatever's fine. But at the end of the day, I would have much rather have been a system that shuttles everyone and anybody and everybody up and down from the time of like 6 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon, and then from the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. you're shuttling drunks. Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, seriously, like, fair enough. Because then at that point, it's a lot easier and it's a lot safer for somebody to operate a rail system than it is a bus. I would argue that. To be honest, I would argue that, A. B, you can hire not much more people, but you can hire more people for the night shift, right? Yeah. And then so I'm not allowed to say what company I work for, but I work for a security company. You hire out a security company. Whether it's a national one, the one I work for, or it's a local one, who gives a shit? Yeah. You employ more people, right? You have security guards on there, and you know what? That is something that, like, that statement that you just said, hey, what's up, guys? All right, we're going to pregame at my house. We're going to walk down to the rail line. We're going to hop on it. It comes through here.
That generates more business.
Yeah, it comes through here at 8:25. We're going to go down to Sister. We're going to throw down. We're going to go down to Two Fools. And then guess what? Distillery don't give a fuck. So we're going to go back up this fucking...
Distillery don't
we're going to go back up to downtown. We're going to party Distillery. It's like 3 a.m. We'll shuttle back to the house and hopefully make it back inside. There is no drunk...
But you could shuttle back home. That was the big thing.
And there is no drunk driving happening in any of that. You can still Uber out of anywhere. And what's smart is, so you bring up Phoenix, right? So Phoenix has that nice rail line. San Diego has a nice rail line down by the convention center.
Yep.
A lot of these places now, I don't know about Phoenix. I'm sure they have it, but I know that San Diego has it. They have designated areas for Ubers and Lyfts to go and wait.
Yeah, like a pickup area or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like you're not having to do guesswork about which Honda Civic is mine, right? No, it's like, okay, as long as you're coherent enough to make it to the giant empty parking lot with 2 Ubers in it, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It makes it easier on everybody, but no, they had to make it a bus system. They had to give it the cheapest buses in the fucking world.
Yeah.
They had to absolutely.
Did they messed up on building the structure? They bought the wrong buses and
Yeah,
I remember
yeah. So
they
a few of the vehicles they got weren't the right dimensions for the lane.
Yeah.
Width wise, so I think they had to go back on that. And then there's a couple of blocks. Yeah, there's a couple of blocks where the curb wasn't at the right height, so anybody with a disability had a chance of falling, and then the city gets sued and shit.
Yeah,
So they said
exactly.
they had to re-level all that.
Yep.
And then you got to think, right? So that's 2017. So they completely botch the art project, and it really doesn't get up and running. The construction doesn't get finished to the point where businesses are back up and running and getting some of their business back until like the back end of 2018. Then they have a year of grace, and then COVID.
And then boom.
Like that's why city planning is so important.
Yeah, it's
Like
really
how
true.
hard is it to not fuck up?
Yeah.
Like I'm not an architect. I'm not a mathematician. But
There's a lot of moving parts. It just goes to show you.
There's a lot
fell through the cracks in that. It's kind of crazy.
The one person you definitely can blame is the person that hired all the people that fucked it up.
Yep.
Who hired them? Was it Keller? Was it his people? Whoever the fuck it was.
Somebody put it in implement.
Jack that shit up.
Yeah.
So anyway, bunch of morons, dude. That's another reason why I'm leaving in like a year and a half.
You plan on moving?
Yeah. The plan is Austin in 2025.
Dude, everyone is going to Austin. We're going to Austin City Limits in October.
Nice.
Cool festival. They do it every year. My girlfriend's been going for years and years. I DJ a lot of weddings, and because I DJ them so many weeks in advance, I have to only take so many. So I've been denying because it's balloon fiesta season. Peak.
Yeah.
People get married, and the season change of the leaves and all of that.
Right.
First weekend of October, big money maker, right?
Yeah, they want their autumn weddings. They want their Halloween weddings, and
It's really good for the photos and stuff like that. And so I have 3-4 more weddings in October after that. But yeah, we're gonna go to Austin City Limits. I was just in Austin. We did a road trip from here all the way to New Orleans.
Ooh, that's gotta be fun.
Oh, it actually was.
Shit,
it was a blast.
I love a good road trip, dude. The longest I've went. Now, granted, it wasn't really a road trip. It was a trip by car. A road trip, you could stop and see things and whatever. I went straight from because I was a dumbass 21-year-old, 20-year-old around there. No, I was 21. I went from. I'm an idiot. I went from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
To Kentucky. Whoo! In a straight shot.
Straight shot?
Straight
How
shot.
many hours is that?
21 and a half. I maybe stopped for...
You're a psychopath.
Yeah, I maybe stopped for about 45 minutes to an hour so I could take a nap.
Did you take a nap?
Yeah, take a nap. And I was all hopped up on fucking nicotine, tobacco, and caffeine.
Anything you could get at a gas station.
Yeah, exactly. But then also I was like, oh shit, like this is kind of cool. I'm seeing a bunch of places I've never seen before.
It's pretty sweet, huh?
So I kept getting those dopamine hits on the way there.
That's cool.
I was just like, oh my, because I drove like, I don't remember everything, but like I went through Oklahoma.
Nice.
And then I don't know if I went through Tennessee. I don't know. I went through a lot of like that mid.
Are you from here?
Yeah, born and raised here. And the only places I've ever frequented are San Diego because I got family there, and El Paso because I have family there.
Great.
So then like I would stop in Phoenix on my way to California because I have friends in Phoenix, and I've been to Denver a couple of times. But I mean, I'd never really like traveled that way before.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, this is great. Like, look at all these cool things. I stopped at places to eat, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like... wow, there's more to this country. This is great. But the drive back was horrible.
Why did you?
The drive back, I was like, I've seen this before.
Oh, shit sucks.
I want to go home.
When are we getting home?
The last like hour and a half was all 4 windows down. You know those monsters.
It's just that mental break, bro.
Well, you know those monsters where like you screw it open, and the first open.
Yeah.
When it opens, I was like slamming into one. I was drinking out of one of those, spitting my tobacco into another, windows down, 110, winds blowing,
music blasting,
I got my
just
music,
to
and
stay
I'm just
awake.
like screaming at the fucking. I'm like, stay awake.
Jesus, dude. I've had something similar to that, but nothing that crazy. I did a wedding in Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Oh yeah,
And so it's just close enough to where there's nothing there. So I didn't want to get a hotel an hour out.
And for people listening, there is a Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Yes.
And it's about an hour 45 northeast.
Ain't shit out there.
There's
it's
nothing out there.
It's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
But I did a wedding at a barn. It was fine. Of
course you did.
I know, right? Of course. No fucking AC, dude.
Yeah.
I was pissed. But it was fine. Anyway, you finish the night 10, 11 o'clock, tear down all your equipment. It's probably 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then you got to drive home. And, you get home 3:30, 4 o'clock after just DJing a wedding. Yeah. And you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing A Day to Remember and
Nice.
just trying to get it going. You actually put me onto that Miracle song.
Oh yeah,
I was watching the pod with Leroy.
With Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
Yeah,
he was telling, and you were like, "Yo, Miracle, they're actually coming back." Cause I heard that whole debate. I was just
he was talking some shit, huh? Yeah, I remember that.
I get where his opinion comes
I do
from.
too. No, I do too.
Mm-hmm. But you said that song, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna listen to it real quick." And so I listened to it, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
That song fucks, right?
I sent it to it does. I sent it to just a couple of the homies who listened to it. Did remember, and they were like, "Oh shit!" They were surprised as well because
they like quietly put that out and like didn't really do it. They did some advertisement for it, but not a lot.
Yeah, I feel like I do follow them on socials, and so I feel like, oh shit, I missed that one, or whatever, right? But anyway, I was bumping that and that same energy on driving that fucking late night, right? But when we went to New Orleans, we did the road trip. We were able to stop in Dallas. My girlfriend has a friend in Dallas.
Nice.
So we were able to stop there, visit a friend, meet the fiance before they got married. My girlfriend, she's always like, I want to meet them. If I'm going to go to their wedding, we're going to their wedding in April. And she's like, if I've never met them, I don't like, it doesn't feel right. Right. So we met them, went to Six Flags. I'd never done the Six Flags in Dallas, which was tight. So that was a good time.
Nice.
Then drove all the way to New Orleans. But just like you were saying, once we got to Texas is pretty flat land, a lot of cities, but a lot of oil rigs and, it's not the most visual thing. But once we got to Louisiana, greenery everywhere, and it was just so beautiful. And we went to New Orleans.
You feel like you're like getting overwhelmed. With the greenery. It's beautiful.
That's how dry it is out here.
It's it's beautiful out there. Like all just like the genuine actual, because we have like New Mexico, and
there's beauty to it.
Desert has its own beauty for sure. I'm not undercutting that.
Yeah.
But it's just so different out there.
Yeah. What's interesting is we find a lot of value in being that desert vibe. So people actually look at New Mexico as like being exotic and different because it's so green everywhere else. They come to the Southwest, they get the hint of the turquoise, they do all of this, and it's so different. So it's something that's such a norm for us and feels so
well. And a lot of that comes from people in the South, and I have a theory.
Oh, really?
I have a theory about that.
What do you mean?
Well, because I know a lot of people. I have a lot of friends from the South that when they visit New Mexico and Arizona and like not too much West Texas, but really like New Mexico and Arizona, they look at them like, oh, it is different out here, but it's beautiful. And because my theory about that is that they're typically leaning to the right, so that means that their parents raised them on like old school westerns.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you got to think like whether it's a TV show like Bonanza, or it's something like the John Wayne movies.
Love a John Wayne flick, honestly.
A lot of those movies took place in New Mexico, Utah, and the Arizona areas.
Yeah.
Right? Huh. That's where a lot of that took place. And they were trying to make their way out west. Yeah. You got to think a lot of the Native Americans they're encountering, for better or worse, those tribes exist in this part of the country. Yeah. So you got to think those kids are growing up either with parents that adored those movies and tried to show them those movies and they didn't like it, or it's like my situation when I was a little kid. My dad showed me a lot of those movies, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's cool, Cowboys and Indians." Yeah. And now I'm actually here. It's like, oh, that's why there's a giant John Wayne mural in the Frontier, or that's why there's a ton of it's basically like the back half of the Frontier is like a John Wayne museum.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like that's why all that is there.
I never realized that until you just explained it now. That's such an interesting point.
Well, it was the popular culture, like zeitgeist back then, right? You got to think like back in, because John Wayne passed away in like 60 something, I want to say.
Okay.
Ish, maybe in the 70s. But the height of his movies, it was still black and white going into color, right?
Yeah.
So you got to think with like our parents and then maybe their grandparents, like those are the people that grew up with it. So they're passing it down this way.
Yeah.
So that's my theory on it, where a lot of people our age, maybe a little bit younger, they kind of find New Mexico as beautiful. And that's why you see a lot of people younger than us want to get the fuck out of New Mexico. They don't find it beautiful.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, they're inside all day. They're on their phones. They're not really like going out and hiking, camping, and all that kind of stuff.
I had that same opinion about like, oh, I see the same old stuff. I'm ready to move out, all that.
Yeah.
Right? Like as you're younger, you don't really learn to appreciate these kind of things until you do get older. But yeah, I felt like I didn't really get a full grasp of how much I love New Mexico until I moved to Phoenix.
But you're realizing that into your 30s, though.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
And I'm talking about people like, let's say the ages of really like, let's say 10, 12, 11 up to 18.
I had that same energy. I was like, I'm moving to Canada.
Well, because what's in the popular culture now? It's the big cities.
Yeah.
I want to move to, at least up until recently when it actively started just burning, but I wanted to move to LA. I want to move to New York. I want to go all these things. Now, like we've talked about a little bit earlier, now the conversation is slowly changing to Austin, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, but they're still big cities. It's not really, and it's sad because like there's not a lot of like, I guess, country left to romanticize, and the people that do romanticize the country living get aligned with one political leaning or another. So it's like people kind of want to keep that quiet to themselves. There's not like a lot of movies made about like the countryside.
They don't do it anymore.
No,
they
not
really
at all.
don't.
So that's where I think a lot of that comes from like when we were kids.
Yeah.
And then now you're right. It's like a lot of people younger than us, they're not going to realize where a lot of the love for New Mexico's nature comes from until they're like in their 30s and their 40s. Like, oh, I took a hike today and got more than 30 minutes of sunlight. That actually, what if I did that when I was 18? This feels kind of good.
Right?
Yeah, this feels kind of good.
You don't learn the value of a hike until you hit your late 20s, man. Like,
yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so you move back from Phoenix. You endure the pandemic.
Yep.
You come out of it in about 21-ish, and business is booming again. You're kicking back up. You're running. And how far into like the business going back? So you said your highest number before COVID was 72?
72 weddings.
72 weddings. Okay. What has your highest been post-COVID? Have you met those numbers yet? Do you? Well,
I don't want to meet
I was
going
to
to
ask that. Do you want to meet those anymore?
No, because I'm making more doing
less. So what's your average? Because I think on that episode I was listening to today, you said like you did an average of like 40-ish.
Yeah,
right?
My cap, I like 34 to 40.
Okay.
So every year, me and the other business owner meet up and we talk about it. What do we want to do this year? You know, he actually just started getting into real estate. And so he wanted to kind of pay a little bit more attention to that, or just kind of like do different things, give a little bit more time to family, and making sure he was there for his kids as well, because he's about 10 years older than me. And he's been doing this and all of this, but he's at a different point of his life. He's got 3 kids. He's got family.
He's in it.
He dude, he's got a badass basketball son who's like in 7th, 8th grade. He's got a high schooler who's bowling. And so he's...
that is like the spectrum of, he is so athletic. He is getting after basketball. He eats nachos during his sport.
No, you know, Jonas kills, bro. You'd be surprised. He's doing tournaments in Vegas and he's doing all right? Yeah. But that's what's cool.
He does like tournaments and shit.
Yeah.
I just like talking shit.
No,
that's so cool.
Right. This guy's making layups. He's eating nachos. But
well, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about bowling, dude. You can get a healthy buzz. Mm-hmm. 3 hot dogs and a couple of nachos deep and still hit a strike.
Exactly.
That's a sport, son.
It's so fun. You know, and it's a really good time. He bowls himself, and I think he influences his kids on sports. But you know, they do a good job. He's there for them, and so he tries to do as many weddings as he can, but he has a number but now we're getting so many inquiries. He's like, I can take a couple more, because now it just means extra cash, right? So when we meet every year, when we met this year, I said, I want to do 32 to 35. And now I'm at 36 booked. And right now for this year. Nice. So I have a lot more for this year to finish out. But
so is he getting as many bookings as you are? So how many people are on your team?
It's me, Chris, and Victoria, but it's honestly me and Chris because Victoria's doing her festivals, nightlife stuff, and she fills in some different things, but it's me and Chris, and so I would say I would
love to talk to her to get her like female perspective on this too.
She's badass, bro.
Because you're the second like DJ that I've had on, and the more that I talk to you guys, the more that I'm like, oh, there's a lot more to this than pressing buttons.
What's interesting about it is there's different lanes.
Yeah,
and what I've learned is when you get into the game, you want to be Diplo. You want to be Tiesto. You're like, yes.
Who's the guy that passed away? Avicii. Yeah.
R.I.P. man. Levels.
Dude, Levels.
He had a documentary that was super great, but it's also super sad because he talks about his mental health and different things.
How did he pass again? Was it drugs?
Oh,
right?
dude, it was suicide. So I don't know what it was.
He committed suicide.
Yeah.
I thought he OD'd.
Let's see.
Oh, shit.
But I'm pretty sure Avicii was not. I thought he committed. That's why it was so sad.
That's crazy. But yeah, the more I talk to you guys, both on and off cameras, I'll meet a few people that's again. I try to.
Yeah.
When I go out, I'm at is it suicide?
Yeah,
it was
sad. That's sad.
Whenever I go out to like shows or to a bar or whatever, and people say, "Oh, I do this." Okay, because I know a lot of people when they got a couple drinks in them, they want to elevate. I'm like, yeah, I fucking. So I believe about 80% of what I hear when I go out, and
makes sense, especially like our interaction at Marble, right?
Yeah,
you're just
it's like
yeah, DJs, whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's like cool, sick. But again, dude, I mean it. Like you got your endorsement from Leroy. Like those guys,
He's a real dude. He's a real one.
Yeah, I hold their opinion in high regard.
That's awesome.
I do. Those are cool. Good. Those are good dudes.
Well, I'm lucky to be in their breath.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, they're real good guys.
They really are good guys.
I believe about 8% of what I hear, stuff like that. But now that like I'm really starting to talk to people like you that actually do this, and on and off the podcast, I'm like, oh, there's a lot to this, and I never want to do it. No interest in doing it, but like I'd like to hear perspective. So I'd love to get in contact with her about like the female side of it.
We'll figure it out, bro. Because she's got a good. We'll get you in contact.
And the reason I ask about your team in general, because I figure, okay, so by now you've got 36. I'd imagine
me and Chris alone did 100. He sent me a text 2 days ago and was like, dude, this is our number for this year.
Both of you guys are at 100.
Whatever that may look like.
Right. Between the two of you. Right, yeah.
And Victoria might have done, I'd say 9 to 10.
Okay, but then she's also got her nightlife stuff she's doing. So you guys, and the year's not up.
No.
You're only about 70% into the year.
Yeah. But, it's bookings. We're booking for next year.
That's awesome.
We already know everything else that comes in now is just extra coin because we're not accounting for it because it's people book out 9 to 10 months in advance with us. We were getting these holiday parties for December in June. And so like my December filled up so quick.
So you've been doing this for almost 10 years now.
Yeah, I'm happy because I can say almost 10 years.
How does that feel to say that you are now at the point where you're 70%? Now I'd imagine this already happened a while ago or like earlier in the year, but as of now, you're 70% into your calendar year.
Yeah.
And you just admitted that the rest of the gigs that you have is just profit.
Yeah.
How does that feel, man? And you're booking out a year in advance.
It's pretty awesome.
How the fuck is you're actively making it? What does that feel like?
It lets you know that shit's working when you put in all that hard work on mixing, DJing, doing all these different things. We have a lot of systems in play now where I get an inquiry, it gets sent to me. I have an email that I say get sent out, and I sent them all these different things, and it just feels really good to feel confident to be able to deliver something, right? Whatever that may be. But to be someone who feels confident, who feels like, oh yeah, you need an event DJ'd? I'm your guy. Let's figure it out, right?
And delivering like a quality product.
Exactly. Too. And understanding what that means to deliver that quality product. But yeah, It feels pretty good. I guess I've just been going. So you don't really take a second to be like, oh yeah, that is cool. But like, it's interesting because you feel like you're failing in some ways, and then you feel like you're doing amazing in other ways.
Well, I imagine a bit of that's because you care.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what do you find yourself still having to actively teach yourself, learn, advance upon?
I'm trying to right now. As you DJ, you take on. I've always learned that you take on a different skill. First, you gotta like just figure out how to play songs, and then you learn how to beat match, and then you learn how to phrase, and then you learn how to do all these things, right? And so that's there. What I'm focusing on this year is really on MC skills, but not being over the top, but understanding how to engage a crowd without being too much.
Where do you find the middle ground? Because I agree, you can't be a Leroy, right?
Yeah.
You can't be like Amanda from the Red Light Cameras or like Josie from the Mango Cakes. You can't do that. Not because you don't have the ability,
Well,
but because
there's brides who want that, but I'm not that guy.
Right, but there's also, I would imagine that you don't.
It comes off as too corny.
It comes off. I would imagine it comes off as corny in the setting, but at the same time, it's not your day.
Yeah,
You're a supplement.
exactly. That's exactly it.
You know, you're supplementing a pair's day, a couple's day.
And that's what I'm telling the couples.
You don't want to overshadow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is I'm there to help amplify you guys. It's not about me. So if you have a DJ who's out on the dance floor, and yes, there are DJs who do that, and couples sometimes want that crowd engagement or whatever, right? But for that specific setting, and for me, that's what I always say is you talk with them and you deliver your style of DJ. You let them know this is what I like to do. I'm not going to be on your dance floor. I'm not going to be teaching them how to do their line dances or anything like that. But, that's actually fading out a lot more than you would think. And people just want a good DJ. People want mashups. They want cool mixes. And they want things that they hear on TikTok. You know?
I was literally about to say that. There is a DJ that pops up on my TikTok every now and again. Yeah. It's this bald, like, not like bigger, like he's about 6'1", 200, 225 guy. Bald dude. And he prides his page on the different mashups.
So it's like mashups that should be illegal or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's one of those. Exactly.
I love it though.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. And so
it gives me inspiration.
How much do you find? Okay, I don't know what I want to ask first. Okay, so how do you do your marketing? Mm-hmm. How do you grow your social media? And then how much do you find this new age of TikTok is influencing your business?
Okay, so how do we do our marketing? Our marketing video is a very big thing right now. But also, too, we've learned relationships are massive in this industry because we're working with wedding planners. We're working with vending staff. Those people they stay there, right? I'm working with a gentleman who I love working with. This guy's name's David at La Fonda over in Santa Fe. This is a premier wedding venue, but I'm his guy. Whenever they say, we're getting married next year, who do you recommend? Oh, you need to hire Tony. And that's awesome. That's a massive marketing, is getting on all of these venues' recommended vendor lists. And you can only do that by crushing it, and then you got to show up and then kill it, and then them be like, we need you on our vendor list.
So a quick sidebar. How long do you feel like it took you to build your reputation? Because this is I asked that
4 to 5.
Because this is a common denominator that I'm finding with a lot of people, just entertainment industry in general here.
Yeah.
But especially the music industry.
Yeah.
Right? Comedy's growing, so there's a lot of finding their footing. It's a lot of figuring. Like, there's obviously those that are better than others.
Yeah.
But a lot of that is just finding out like the footing of it, finding out like the post-COVID what it looks like. A lot of breweries, a lot of venues are coming up to help out comedy.
Yep.
But with music, because music has been here for so fucking long, and it only got resurged out of COVID, right?
It really did.
The building of the reputations. What I've found talking to a lot of people is it is a challenge to build real and solid relationships because for good reason, people are skeptical. People are like, okay, how serious are you?
Yep.
How professional are you really? Can I trust you to show up? Can I do that? All those things. And then it's like, okay, but once I have that solid relationship, it's a lot easier to keep it, but it's almost twice as easy to fuck it up.
It is kind of. I mean, you just take that within stride, right? Like if a wedding planner hires me for their wedding day, I know if I'm on and Shelby from Just Lovely, or no, Lauren from Just Lovely Events is there, I'm not fucking up, right? Like, I'm not fucking up regardless, but because this planner's there who recommended me, the stakes are higher.
Well, you're not just putting your reputation on the line; you're putting theirs and the people everyone recommends you. Because now that disgruntled and rightfully so angry wife, newly minted bride,
right,
is going to go to all her girlfriends. Well, first of all those people are going to see it like, man, that sucks. Whatever they talk about, it, they don't. Whatever.
Yeah.
But that bride is going to go. Hey, Stacy, you're getting married in a year and a half. That's awesome. Don't go to them. They fucking suck.
Right? Don't pick my DJ because he was ass, right?
Exactly.
And this is actually just what happened. We just got an inquiry from a sister from last year. You were the DJ at my sister's wedding. You crushed it. We want to have you back.
That's awesome.
Right? And so reoccurring clients, they're awesome, but it's not as common as you'd think. We are having to understand that we're getting a new client every time, and repeat customers are amazing. That's why we take care of them so much, because I discounted the shit out of this repeat customer. I gave them the same rate as their sister got, because I was like, oh, you're a repeat. Let's go. And you're on a Friday. Let's go. We can throw in the I can do a wedding on Friday, and I can do another one on Saturday and make some money.
I would just imagine if I'm a wedding DJ at a wedding and I'm looking at the wedding party and I see, okay, so there's 5 bridesmaids. 3 of you guys have boyfriends. I'm gonna go sauce those boyfriends up real quick. Y'all get married in the next year, son.
Right, dude? You talk to them and you see a lot of love stories happening and different things like that. But man, you get these bridesmaids who will like hang on you or like want to do things, and you're like, come on, I'm trying to work here. Like, please help me out here. Like,
okay, so how do you guys do your marketing, and then what is this new age of TikTok affecting your business?
That's one aspect. Relationships, being connected with those people who are in it, in the weeds, and they say, who do you recommend, right? The next one is socials. We are making sure we're putting clean videos of recaps where we do our podcast. So we have like clips that allow guests to, if you're a bride who's getting married, but you're also a wedding vendor, like we do different episodes who are based on different things, so different people will listen to it. But yeah, we just find ourselves understanding where eyes are going. And dude, there's 2 things that I just learned like this week. One, Instagram is really pushing SEO because TikTok is already fucking amazing at it. SEO, for those who don't know, is search engine optimization. And that is for when you go on Google, you type in best wedding DJ. Who comes up? Cutmaster Music. And why do we come up? Because we write blogs with those keywords in mind. We have things on our website that really key into that. But then also too, we're noticing now, especially this year, is we're putting our SEO in TikTok and Instagram. Instagram is getting better at it. They're doing away with their hashtags. You still should put like 5 of hashtags on your thing, but you should also make sure you're putting best wedding DJ in New Mexico, best podcast in Albuquerque, or like just different topics, right? If something's going trending right now for you and you notice that topic is happening, you can, like say for instance, a couple weeks ago, the Titanic thing was going big, right? You just talk about, hey, we mentioned the Titanic in our latest podcast, right? That'll go up higher than other people.
I had a stand-up bit about that.
There you go.
So did everybody else. So did everyone else. Some people did better than I did, but
it doesn't matter. But what's important is like you cut it, you clip it, you post it within its relevancy, and then it gets you up there on those things, right? But what we're doing is first thing I learned was look up best anything in your category, whatever that may be. So I looked up best wedding DJ, some random doing some stuff, and you're like, oh my God, this is the guy who and it's a local, it's fine. Everybody, I say there's a wedding for everybody. And so it's just how it goes. I'm going to give you my price point.
Yeah.
And he's going to give you your price point, and I might be out of your budget. And respectfully, that's totally fine because I get that.
Yeah.
But there's going to be somebody else who's going to fill in that date. And that's what's really cool. There's no disrespect. It's all real. Like,
yeah, I know. It's just the phrasing's hilarious to me.
That's fucked up because that's what I tell brides. So I'm like, that date will fill, so you're good.
Do you, in a rejection, do you really say, no, it's okay, my date will fill, that's fine?
So what else did you say respectfully in an email? Let me think of how I would phrase it. They'd be like, oh, you're out of our price range. I would go, You know what? That's totally fine. I will open the date back up for other brides to find the date. Thank you so much.
See, I was going to say, so
that's how I would phrase it professionally.
That's a perfect way to put it because you're being professional, but at the same time, I forget what it's called in like actual like writing prose. It's a specific way. The shorthand way of the slang way of saying that you're baiting them.
Yeah,
because
urgency.
Exactly, because the psychological part of it is you're creating like the FOMO aspect, or it's like, oh shit, you tell me that other bitch is gonna get it.
Yeah.
Hey, you're gonna spend $3,000, motherfucker.
Yep.
We will do it. Thank you for your services.
It's funny because what you do is what I found a lot of value.
And there's nothing dirty about it. It's a damn business.
I'm being transparent.
You're being transparent.
My biggest thing
it's being real. You're not being rude.
Nope.
You're not being mean. I mean, if I got that, I read them like, I mean, yeah, fair enough, because you're running a fucking business, right? So that's fair.
There is somebody who's willing to pay this. So,
yeah.
Well, and that's what we'll do is we'll put a week hold on the date. We'll talk with them. We'll let them know, hey, I'm going to tell them I'm booked if somebody does inquire. So that way they don't feel the pressure.
And they feel secure.
I need to sign now. Yeah, right? That week comes up. We send them email saying, hey, your week is up. If we don't hear anything, that's fine. And then 2 weeks comes by. We'll say, hey, we got an inquiry for your date. And then that actually lights a fire under their ass. And they're like, oh, we forgot about you. We actually wanted to book. And then boom, there you go.
Right. And I feel like I would imagine that a lot of the times it's just people forgetting. I mean, dude, let's just be honest.
Happens.
Let's call it what it is. I fucking suck at booking, and I fucking suck at the admin side of this podcast. Like, I will always...
Oh, you do all right.
No matter how much money I make in life, whether it's off of this or whatever I end up doing with my life, I will never let somebody else book and choose my guests. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
However, I will gladly hire a social media person, and she knows who she is.
There you go.
I tell her, like...
Shout out her, because she's crushing it.
Yeah, she's the shit. Gabby Foote.
Shout out Gabby.
Yeah, she lives in Texas now. We've known each other since we were like fucking fourth grade. And literally her whole life is social media management.
Love it.
And I text her every now and again, like, hey, what do you think?
So you don't do any of that?
I'm like, huh?
You don't manage, you just send her...
Oh, no. I'm the one that does. I know, I do it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I do all my social media stuff, but I'll text her, like, advice.
Nice.
I'm like, hey, like, can you help? Like, what do you think about this? Like, after I post or, like, whatever. And she'll the reason why I want to hire her, outside of the fact that, like, she's my friend and all that kind of stuff, and, like, just I adore what she does, and she's a good person, is that she's smart.
Yeah.
And she's actually knowledgeable, and she gives me, like, real feedback. Yeah. Like, she tells me, hey, that's stupid. Oh, hey, that was good, but fix this.
Yeah.
Hey, that's okay. That's not your best. Oh, no, that's horrible. Delete it.
That's what you need. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But either way, that's what you need. You need somebody to give you that.
That's what I want. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I want. So the minute I get some fuck you money, I'm hiring her full time. And then the second person that I'm hiring is a scheduler.
I love it.
So I can just be like, hey. Money. Yeah. So then I'm going to hire a scheduler after that. And I'm like, hey, I want this, and this person. Please figure it out. They want to do it. Nice. Just so, and you can send the emails with the right documents. And, it's like, because I fuck up sometimes and I sent you the wrong document and you saw like all my YouTube descriptions.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man. I was like, oh, fuck.
Am I supposed to answer these questions? Where are the questions?
Because like on my YouTube document, I haven't like, because I have it just set up to where I copy and paste it onto my descriptions.
Okay.
And it's got like all my promo on it. Like here's where to find the socials. Exactly. Here's where to find like the sponsors. But then it also, because I haven't edited it in almost 3 years now, it's got like old YouTube descriptions from episode 7 on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's got like old shit on that document. So anyway.
No, I like that. What I like about the questionnaire is it inspired me to make a questionnaire for our guests.
Oh, that's sick. Okay, cool.
I love that.
Cool.
Like I thought this is genius. I need to start doing this. Well,
because I figured like I wanted to do this for the podcast, do the questionnaire for the podcast because like there are people like you, like we only met one time very briefly, or there's some people that I've had on where I've never met them. And it's like, Instagram's been my best friend with networking and booking, but it's like, okay, I take this as seriously as I does, so I want to show as much professionalism as I can, and then at the same time, I don't want to go in completely blind because I can do all the research that I want, and I can do all of the background work that I want. But there's just some guests that I've had, and this is not a knock on them, but there's some guests that I've had where they don't have a social media presence. They don't have a huge background in entertainment or art. They're just a cool person I want to talk to.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we were connected from a friend of a friend, and I just want to talk. So here's something.
The questionnaire allows you to kind of gives you direction.
Be a little
for sure.
And I think it brings it in, makes it a little more not familiar.
Yeah.
Right. A little familiar. So it's like, okay, we know what we're doing here. We're gonna have a little fun, whatever.
Nice.
So again, a lot of your social media is based off of SEO.
Yeah,
and
so
it's based
that's
a lot of really trying to learn I don't think anybody knows the algorithm. I think it's as much as you can understand.
Don't fuck the algorithm. I'm so sorry. Fuck the algorithm.
Well, because
be authentic to yourself, and people will come. We're trying to generate the followers. Like that's what we're trying to. We're finding a good job at. Brides are saying they found us on Instagram.
So I agree.
So that's awesome.
But I just say the algorithm because SEO plays into that.
It does.
That's why I say
we're just trying to build the following, and so that's where we're trying to like battle it and all of that. But I think like if you stay true to what you do and you keep delivering the quality of the content that whatever that may look like, consistency is everything, right? And that's why I say you're crushing it. You may think, oh, this doesn't look good, or maybe this clip wasn't everything, but I'm seeing you every day.
Thank you.
So, you know what I mean? So it may not, it's the same idea as the fucking Whopper.
Well, it's in your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so when you just think about those certain things, or people who are invested in what you guys have to talk about on your pod, that's really important. And I like that you do the clips. The clips are so fucking consumable.
Yeah, I need to get back into doing like the 5 to 8 minute ones. I like putting those out, and
TikTok is asking people to post videos longer than a minute.
Yeah.
They were saying, oh, shorter is everything. And now they're saying eyes are staying on TikTok. So you need to start putting like 2 minutes.
I heard about that. Yeah. So, and that's I'm waiting for YouTube to catch up on that because the YouTube shorts only go for 60 seconds.
I love YouTube shorts.
I love them too.
Searchability on that thing.
I love them too, but I just don't understand why they stop at 60. Mm-hmm. That's my question. When Instagram's at 90, you know what I mean?
Yeah. TikTok's fucking 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to get better about putting out full clips because those will get more views. Mm-hmm. Typically, it's just a matter of actually doing it. And shit. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then
that's why I like shorts.
My last question about this is how does it now, and then how has TikTok affected the way you look at marketing through social media? Because I feel like for a lot of people in entertainment, they either flat out ignore it or they lean into it as heavily as possible.
What I think about social media, what it does is it establishes credibility. It in a day and age where these kids are growing up now more and more with TikTok, with social, we millennials are the first. We had the best of both worlds, where we didn't have any kind of socials, and then we grew up with the social media. These kids were born with it, and they're kind of figuring out a way to like maneuver through it, right? And that's why they're saying shit like the metaverse. They're saying you need to figure out how to DJ in the metaverse and all that crazy shit, right? But I think what was big for us was like understanding how it's evolving to give yourself that credibility. When you have a bride saying, I'm getting married at Hyatt Tamaya in Bernalillo. Oh, great. Well, here's a video of us in Hyatt Tamaya. They look at it and they see, oh, look at the uplighting. Look at the dance floor. I want that at my wedding. So again, it gives you the credibility that you know what you're doing and all of that, and the searchability through the SEO and all of that. But, you know, being able to promote yourself is very big as well. Promoting different mixes and having like mashups. You can get lucky and have something go viral. You know, we had Victoria. She did a mashup of like Selena and something else. I can't remember what the mashup was. But she had a DJ that reach out to her and want to remix it, right? And so she's got like 50,000 followers on TikTok and all of that. Nice. And so once you have those followers, people are like, oh, I want that at my wedding day. And when they see that, they don't buy with price, they buy with emotion. You know what I mean? Like that's, and I pulled a clip from we do a segment where we pull different TikToks and we talk about it. And one of the TikToks said, go with vibe over price. Now we are definitely a premium DJ, and I don't dispute that, right? I don't dispute that. I understand.
You've said that a few times. What what's the difference between a premium wedding, a premium DJ, and then everything else?
I'd like to say that you understand you're hiring a professional. You're not just you're not just hiring your buddy who has some lights and saying they know what they're doing. This is somebody who has an app to help you with your planning. You know what I mean? Somebody who's done so many weddings now that they understand that if you give me an idea, hey, we want to do this thing where maybe we want to dance with like some couples or like past married couples. Oh, you're thinking of the anniversary dance, right? Like I have all these random expertise that I give you, but also to, like we talked about earlier, I'm giving you somebody who's going to deliver on your day no matter what. Like that's what it is you're paying for the confidence that this DJ is going to deliver. But I like to think that I'm there for all of the little things, the rehearsals, the planning meetings. I like 3 planning meetings. A lot of couples will be like, oh, like they said they wouldn't even meet with us or whatever. They just want to get a music list. And I'm like, no, I want to break down your whole day. I want to understand what's the music going to be like as your guests are walking into your ceremony. What songs are we playing as that's happening? Are there any readings going to be happening? I ask all of those little questions because I've planned a wedding fucking hundreds of times. This is the first time you're ever planning a wedding, and it's so intimidating. So when couples meet with us, they just have peace of mind. They have confidence that it's going to be a good day because they're talking about all this other logistical shit. You know what I mean? The food, the what am I thinking of? Linen or like napkins and all of this other stuff, that floral. And that's great. It looks beautiful. But when our couples walk in with us, we get to talk about the party and all of that fun stuff, right? And I think what's them paying that premium is understanding that they feel confident in the DJ. But then when you get somebody who's already seen it, it's already sold. Like it's so much easier for a bride to be like, I saw you at a wedding and I needed you at it. I'm like, oh, here's the contract.
Because you're like the cool dad in a divorce coming like, your mom made you do homework and make your bed. We're going to go run red lights and watch fucking funny. Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Exactly. I always say it. We're the fun meeting. You know, if we have a meeting, meetings are gravitating a lot more towards Zoom since COVID.
Yeah.
It's a lot more convenient, and we've learned to amplify that. But when we do have meetings in office, we'll have a beer, we'll hang out, you know what I mean? Like we'll shoot the shit because I want it to be not necessarily a homey experience, but I want you to know that your DJ's on your side. And
well, yeah.
You know, when you're sharing a beer and you're having, like, when they come into the meeting and you've got the name, welcome, and it has their name projected on the wall. I've got that from a past podcast, and it's great because they walk in and they're like, oh, you know, and it's a customized thing, so personalized. And I just make it on Canva real quick, 10 minutes before the meeting.
Yeah.
And they walk in and like, oh, thank you so much for doing that.
Okay, yeah, it was
a beer.
Well, it was 10 minutes to make, but it's small gestures like that build up to a bigger picture.
Exactly.
And it shows, and then on the other flip side, it shows attention to detail.
It really does. And that's another thing about Premiere is every single experience, from the sales meeting to the app to every meeting we have together, we want that to be premium. We don't want it to just be, you hired us, we'll figure it out. Like, no, this is the biggest day of your life. And if you don't have somebody who has a clear head thinking forward about that day, asking the questions that you don't even think about, then, you know, like we just hear horror stories from planners. And it makes me sad and happy at the same time. It makes me happy that we're delivering a product and service that's far best. We'll get photographers who will be like, we're just so happy you guys do like mixing. And we're like, what? Some DJs, I swear to you, will hit play, let the song play, the full song, and then hit play. Let the other song go and then just hit play on another one.
Oh, no.
And there's no crowd reading. There's no other thing. And that's how you know you're doing something good, when photographers come in and they're like, oh, it's going to be a good wedding because Cutmaster's here. Or Tony's here with Cutmaster because we know he does an amazing show. Because if we deliver an amazing show, they get amazing photos. So it all kind of works out together, and we're collaborating with them, just like I'd mentioned with the catering for sunset photos and toasts and champagne. Well, we have to collaborate with the photographer, make sure that they have enough time to do all of those things. And so because of that, we try to, if you have a planner and event staff and photographer being like, oh, you hired Cutmaster? Yes, right? Like that's what premium is all about. peace of mind to other vendors and having this confidence that you really hired somebody who's quality.
Yeah, it's got to be a team effort between everyone putting that event on.
Everyone,
because yes, it's a wedding that two families coming together, and
there's a lot of moving parts.
So celebrating love for sure. That's all fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, from the administrative side of things, it's a event. You're putting on a really strange concert.
Holy shit.
You know what I mean?
You just dropped it. That was awesome.
You know,
that's it.
Yeah, you're putting on a really strange concert that's like not really focused on the music, but the music is so big, and the food is a bigger piece, and the drinks have a bigger piece. And
Well, that's my argument. I always tell them, I'm like, you'll never remember the food you ate at a wedding, but you'll remember how you felt at the end of the night.
Yeah,
and
for sure. For sure.
So you're never going to remember the chicken you ate, but you're going to remember that. Oh, Johnny's wedding was fucking sick because we were dancing the night away, right?
Right.
Who makes you dance the night away? The DJ. And so that's why I'll paint these pictures for them, and I say, well, you need a place to party, you need someone to record the party, photographer, and you need someone to throw the party. That's where I think you should value vendors, because yes, weddings can get so expensive, but if you want, oh my god, dude, it's fucked up. I mean, look at my price point, my price point, right? Like, I understand that. But I think
is that something you want to talk? I mean, you have to put it out like so. Let's say generally speaking, okay. So I don't have a girlfriend right now, but let's just say me and my fiance, we approach you. We want to have. I have no aspiration of having a giant wedding. That's just not like my preference.
Yep.
So that's a good question. Does capacity matter to your price?
No, it makes a difference on what I bring, but that's the difference.
That's what I was going to lead into.
You're hiring me. You're not paying for. I'm not going to nickel and dime you on how many speakers I'm going to bring.
Okay, because I'd imagine some DJs do though.
Oh, that's actually very common.
Yeah, due to like equipment load and like what they're bringing, that type of stuff.
They'll tell you, well, we'll bring X amount of speakers if you pay us for these packages, right?
Right.
And we don't do a package style of wedding. Our pricing is based on the person, because you want him. We're going to bring you whatever you need. So if you want a video DJ booth, you have a guest count of 200. I know you're going to need subwoofers. I know you're going to need line array speakers like concerts. I'm not going to charge you for any of that, but here's my price point. You know what I mean? So
what would it generally be?
It's $3,499.
Okay.
$3,499.
That is a lot less than I thought it was going to be.
Wow.
I'm going to be cool. That's a lot less than I thought it was going to be. I thought you were going to hit me like the 55 to 6 G's.
No, but your average wedding DJ in New Mexico is going to be around 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. There's a couple it pisses me off because they don't deliver the quality product that they should, and they're charging $2,000.
Yeah.
They're charging these couple thousands of dollars and their ass. I'm not going to say who, but it's frustrating to hear that, because that's why I don't get mad at my price point. I'm like, oh, that asshole is charging $2,000 to do that?
Yeah.
Fuck that. Yeah,
so what do you think is the biggest, or not biggest, let's say the most common denominator that would differentiate a poor DJ at a wedding to a really great one?
One who doesn't read the crowd. One who just plays whatever, just doesn't understand how crowds move, and understand you have an older crowd in the earlier parts of the evening. And as the night goes, you get more towards the booty shaking music, right? But grandma's going to start dancing. You know, the 50 Cent in the clubs, the by Ushers or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That comes along later in the evening, but we also need the shake, rattle, and roll.
Yeah.
You know, grandma wants to dance to the stuff she at the sock
Bill, hop. Whoever in the comments, right? Shake, rattle, and roll it's Bill something in the comments.
Exactly.
I forget what his last name, but yeah.
You know, but like, your Jerry Lee Lewis's, you're the Temptations, stuff like that gets grandma on the dance floor. When I think about it, I think about DJs who show up for a paycheck, and DJs who actually care about the couple and want to make sure that they're invested in what this means for their day, right? Like, and understanding that it's not just a paycheck, but it's like somebody's major day, and just being there for them, you know?
Yeah.
During that time, I think it's important to make sure that you're there for them and you're giving them the confidence that they have. because sometimes there's DJs out there who just show up and press play and don't really. I just hear horror stories from planners and things, and you're like, how? Like I was getting ready to introduce a couple or introduce the wedding party and all of that, and I'm getting all my names in order, and I went up to the planner and I said, hey, I want to go up and make sure they're in the right order. And she's like, really? Okay, great. And so she had told me as we're walking up, a DJ had told her, no, he's behind the booth, and he says, no, you get them in order. I'm over here. I'm doing my thing. And I'm like, well, why? I'll play a Miles Davis song for 7 minutes, a long jazz song for dinner. While that's going on, we also have assistants who will DJ kind of offhand while we're doing other technical things. And I'll get them in order, right? But like you hear stupid stories about...
That just sounds like ego getting in the way.
I agree.
Where it's like, hey, I'm the dude behind the booth.
Yeah.
I'm Oz behind the curtain.
Uh-huh.
Don't tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You form to my music.
Yeah.
And that's when I feel like that's when it starts. Not even starts. That's when it, at least in that person's mind, it is a concert featuring love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they're like, they hired me.
Yeah,
so
exactly. It's like, yeah, hired you for what, dickhead?
Yeah. Exactly, dude.
Like, you're supplementing somebody's night.
It makes me feel bad just because these are major moments in people's lives. And that's why I like we mentioned this a little earlier in the pod about what keeps you going. Why are you still doing this, right?
Yeah.
One thing that I love and I find so much value in is being there and being awesome for couples on their big days. Like, this is somebody's major moment in their life, and to hear all of these people coming up to you after the wedding, dude, that was the sickest fucking wedding I've ever been to in my life, right? Like, that's very satisfying, but like, I also love helping these people create these amazing moments, because it's rare to get these feelings right now. And so to be a part of that, to get those goosebumps when you drop a song and do all that. But you know, it's indifferent, because one day you're successful as ever, and the other day you are trying to fill a bar with DJ or trying to fill a bar with people, right? So like, that's where the nightlife and different things are challenging for me, because on one hand, I said that you're already so successful, killing it every single weekend. Weddings are awesome. And then now I'm trying to build the Xia brand. I've been building the Xia brand, but the balance is so hard, because
Right.
I have to turn down so many local events but they also are very opportunity based. Hey, somebody dropped out. I need you. Are you available? No, I've been booked for 8 months.
Like a 48-hour advance.
Yeah. And so that's where it gets really challenging. I turned down a lot of events from Marble and not FX, Red Door. But I'm going to be at Red Door next week, so that'll be cool. But like, that's where it gets frustrating, because you're investing in these weddings, but then you also have to turn away big days. Or not big, I guess big personal days, I should say. But it's also really hard, because I can make $3,000 on one day. I can also make 200 with a bar tab on another day. So it's been a big mental thing too.
Well, that's one way to look at it. But the other way you can look at it too is, okay, you've built up your name and you've helped build this company effectively. Yeah. Right. And you're making all this money doing the wedding stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Now you have the ability to go build your personal brand.
That's a good way to look at it.
You know what I mean?
Because it does give me the freedom.
And at some point, it's going to be like, or at some point, right now, it's like, I can't do these. You know, you can't ask me 48 hours in advance. Yeah. But at some point, I'd imagine you're going to get to a point with because a lot of these, and it makes sense, but I didn't really recognize it until I started talking to a lot of people in the music industry, is a lot of these venues talk to each other. Yeah. And a lot of these venues are owned by the same people. Yeah. Right? So then it's like, okay, you're going to build your own personal brand up to the point to where you can just hand your schedule to these personal venues. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, these are the weekends that I'm free. That's true. Hit me up on these weekends. I'm not free on these other weekends. Most of the times I'm doing my own day job, like my actual like wedding job. But then also, these are the weekends that I may have to myself. Yeah. Whichever one it is my business, but these are the ones that I'm free. If you want me on these weekends, I will be there, locked, cocked, and ready to go.
Yeah. Dude, you're right on the money with that. That's the way to approach it, because that's my biggest struggle. I have the hardest time of trying to find in these different ones. If I have a Saturday that's open, I sometimes will take it personal because you don't get a lot of Saturdays in this industry, right?
Yeah.
You're giving positive energy for everybody else. So it's important to, make sure you have those for yourself as well. That's another big thing, balancing work-life balance. But I love what you're saying and reaching out and giving them the dates. I did that with Red Door, and so that worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Because he's able to understand.
Well, that's what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And then again, because all these people talk to each other, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, man, this guy's really good." Red Door's talking to, I don't know, fucking the guy who runs or books Launchpad.
Yeah.
Because I know the guy that books Launchpad books like El Rey 2, and they book out Sunshine, and they book out Moonlight. And it's like, okay, they're all talking to each other, all the same people. And it's like, hey, this guy, he's booked this weekend. I don't have an opening for him this weekend, but I know you do. Do you need a DJ?
Yeah.
And they're all talking, they're all conversing. Okay, sister. Okay, cool. And then maybe they decide to say, you know what? Fuck the sound system and Anodyne. We're gonna throw a DJ up there. Who knows? You know what I mean? But
tight.
it's
That's just kind of how it generates. And,
it's gonna build that way. I feel like the more you start building your own personal brand, and then you have this whole was basically a whole library of events that you've done, through this one company alone that you're with, it's gonna be like, okay, great. Awesome. Like,
and that's
he obviously has the ability. If he can handle a wedding, I think he can handle the bar at Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of content. I have a lot of video of me at Marble, me at Red Door. Just so much videos that I can send to these clients now. And so it's, you're chasing. I want to do these things, but then also too, it's nice to have the Friday off to spend with my friends and my family, because now I've been doing this for so long. It's tough to DJ every single weekend and not be there to hang out socially or whatever. Like my days off are Monday through Wednesday, and I'm still working through those days. Which
directly conflicts with, I'm sure, a lot of people in your life that work a 9 to 5 on Monday through Friday.
Yeah, so I try to make. Now I've learned, we can squeeze in game nights on like Thursday evenings. I don't do dick on Mondays. Monday is my day off. If we're doing something on a Monday, I'm pissed. Because, events happen on the weekend. Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's barbershop vibes. So barbers don't do anything on Mondays. They're off on Mondays, too.
Yeah, I get that.
Same idea. But, you work on the weekends. And so you can only take so many weekends off. And so that's kind of hard for people to understand, and trying to get that balance of taking the events you want. I want to DJ more for nightlife. And I like nightlife. We talk about filling our personal cup. Nightlife fills the personal cup. But what is it? Weddings fill your financial cup. Well, weddings pays my bills.
Yeah.
And everything else is just kind of fun money.
If you can fill your personal cup with the work you do, I think you're in the right business, dude. No.
I feel very lucky. Yeah, I'm very blessed.
For what you love.
I've said that a lot.
Yeah, and what you align yourself with, you're in the right business.
Yeah.
Because that's extremely rare for people to take whatever fills you spiritually, whatever fills you emotionally, just hits like on that relaxation state.
Yeah.
If you can do that, and to the outside world, it's still considered work and you're getting paid for it. Dude, do you know what I would do to get paid to read comic books? You know what I mean? Like, that would be fucking sick.
Who's your favorite superhero? Batman?
Oh, it's Batman.
All day?
It goes between Batman and Superman.
So who's the best Batman?
Oh, God. All right. We'll shelve that. We'll get to that. I want to finish out because No, you're good. We can get to that because the last question I have for you about your business and your the wedding DJing.
Yes.
The podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. The podcast's a fucking home run.
So
I will say this.
Why start a podcast?
Because no one else is doing it. That's one of the biggest things.
Okay, expand on that because everybody has a podcast.
No one. The wedding the wedding community is very tight, and there's different locals in it. There's photographers. There's a local collective. They call themselves the Wedding Collective.
Okay.
Oh, she's killing it. Shout out Shauna.
That's a cool name.
They used to be.
I don't laugh out of disrespect. That's like a cool name.
Yeah.
Like, that's a cool name.
They used to be the perfect wedding guide, and that was like a franchise thing. And now she's built herself up so much to this community.
The perfect wedding guide.
I guarantee you see their magazines at fucking
I
the
feel
diner.
like I've seen them on Instagram.
Yeah. They've remodeled locally to the Wedding Collective, but they're a collection of local wedding vendors who are just crushing it in their prospective markets, right? But it's just a collection. But what's cool about it is, we'll all link up and we'll all say like, hey, I'm getting these certain photos. And so certain photographers will shout out other photographer businesses in all of that. Yeah,
that's
right?
cool.
Yeah, we're shouting each other out. And so that's a really cool opportunity for just the community in New Mexico. And one thing I've loved is with the podcast is the ability to bring on guests. We actually had a controversial episode, our most viewed one yet. It was pretty crazy. We had a vendor not show up with linens, tables, chairs, all of that.
So what did they bring?
They didn't show up. So we had a planner saying, hey, don't hire these people. We talked about it on our podcast. It was very controversial in the local community. And
Who's the vendor?
I can't think of the name right now. What is it? It was...
So what did you hire the vendor? While you're looking that up, what did you hire the vendor for?
So we didn't hire... So there was a wedding.
Or what were they? You don't hire, but
no.
like what were they hired for?
A wedding was happening. They were hired to bring tablecloths, napkins, silverware, chairs.
The appliances.
Yeah, a lot of things for a wedding. But this was... the on-site wedding, or the wedding was off-site, or the location didn't provide anything, so they needed everything: tables, linens, everything. They called the wedding planner the night before, and they said, "Hey, family emergency, we're not going to be there. Figure it out." But this was not the first time this has happened. If you go on,
okay, look, family things can happen.
But why isn't something a safety plan?
I was just about to say that.
You know?
Why wouldn't you, as a business, have an on-call person?
We don't have to.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you have an on-call person? Where it's like, hey, man, look, we have all these dates booked out. If things happen, if my car breaks down, let's be honest, it's Albuquerque. If my car gets stolen, you know, if my house gets broken into, and then last on the rung, if something happens, if there's a family illness, if my mother passes away, my grandfather passes away, whatever,
You
suddenly
have something in play.
you know, I can take care of my personal, and then these people can get taken care of. Because again, like, okay, you're running a business, like family matters, obviously, your personal life matters, but at the same time, like we talked about a little bit earlier, you need to keep your reputation up, and you need to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
So, did you have the vendors on your podcast?
We didn't have the actual vendors on. We had the planner on who had to deal with the
shit.
Yeah.
I don't tell people how to do things, but I would highly suggest you get those vendors on.
Okay.
And I just say that because I had a weird situation.
Yeah.
Where I had, and it's all public on the podcast, so I don't have to hide names.
Sure.
So this girl who runs in a lot of, she has her own, not her own band, but she's the lead singer of a band. I think she's a great singer. Her stage name is Peach. She got into some problems with these people that run a music, like, it's like a music, it's like a bunch of musicians that came together. It is a collective, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
They came together to like promote other musicians, right? It's good what they do. And I guess they ran an event together, and these guys in this music collective called Monsoon, they got into it with her because of like one of their members said a racist joke on stage, and but she didn't like it. But again, and she wouldn't mind me saying this because she promotes it very much, and we've had this conversation. Yeah. She's very left-leaning, like she's very, very liberal. Yeah. They're very much in the middle, leaning towards sarcastic, and they just don't give a fuck. So they said, and their view of the story is, yeah, we said some, or he said a fucking funny, he came on the podcast and said the joke that he said. It was stupid. I don't remember. It's something about like terrorists, but I thought it was like, funny. Like,
right.
Like
it's a joke.
Yeah, it's like a joke. But in the setting, maybe half the room liked it, half the room didn't.
Fair.
She didn't like it, and then they already had creative issues with each other, so they bashed heads. But the point is that she said that on the podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah.
People came up to me in person, and they were like, and I got
We've been approached about it,
and they were like, yeah, she's right. Like, fuck those guys, whatever. And then I had a couple other people come up to me, and I had one person from the first guy that I had on. And he's a talented guitarist. His name's Abel. His stage name is LaMelo.
Okay.
Very talented guitarist.
Nice.
I love his shit.
Nice.
He came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, I saw your episode with Peach. I'm a part of the Monsoon Collective. It's a load of bullshit, but if you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it." Then his partner, partner in music, they're not gay, but like his partner in music, right?
I got you. Yeah,
I didn't mean to say that. Like, yeah,
I got you.
Yeah. So his partner in music, there's 3 of them total. I haven't talked to the last guy yet, but his partner in music, Edgar, he's the one who actually said the joke. So he came on too, and he was like, "Yeah, we did have our differences between us," and because it was like Peach and her friend that were like co-hosting or some shit, and they all had their issues, and they like butted heads like crazy. And they just didn't have the time to sit down with each other and be like, "Hey, what are our issues?" You know what I mean?
That's the cool thing about podcasts.
Exactly. And so I made it a point to be like, okay, well, you talked some shit, and I've got people coming up to me, and I'm never even. I don't give a fuck if it's 20 people or 20,000 people. I'm never going to perceive myself as biased. Like, I've got my own like morals and ethics.
You
but
do a
like,
good job.
Like, thank you. But opinion wise, like, I just want to hang out with cool people.
Yeah.
But if somebody gets called out, I'm going to do my due diligence. Of
course.
And me as a person, if it wasn't on the podcast, I'd love to have a beer with the guy and be just like, "Hey, what happened?" What the fuck happened, dude? What racist shit did you say? Like, come the fuck on. I've got a sense of humor. What is it?
Yeah.
So we had a good conversation about it. But I would highly suggest, if they're open to it, talk to those people.
I like that,
because like what?
It's easy. It would be very interesting to see their side.
Well, it's easy to demonize. You know, it's
you're
easy.
right.
It's easy to be like, "Fuck those guys. They decided to bail. They're a bunch of dicks. They're da-da-da-da."
Yeah.
But it takes like, I don't know, not that I'm that level, but like it takes someone just to be like, "Okay, dude, what happened?"
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like what happened?
The podcast could be a space for them to explain themselves and kind of go through it. Yeah. Well, what's frustrating is like they were not the first ones for that to happen to.
Right. So these vendors have a habit.
When you go onto the Google or go onto Google and you see the reviews and you see the same excuse.
Oh man.
Different things didn't add up, but I agree with you completely. I think it'd be interesting to see them on.
And you know what? You may find out, and this is a real thing with humans too, they might be dickheads. They might be dickheads. Okay. Like that's a real possibility.
I have a feeling if we were to have them on, it might be our highest viewed episode yet, because people are interested with stuff like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? They want,
even if it wasn't, just giving them the opportunity to air their stuff out and to like present their side of the issue. That can be invaluable. Again, even if you only get a handful of views, right? Put that to the side. You're giving these people an opportunity to air their own side out.
Yeah. It's true.
That could, and you know what? If they're dickheads, they may do nothing with it.
It could help them.
And that's their own prerogative. But at the same time, let's say they're not, and let's err on the side of they're not. It could help them. Yeah. And it could say, hey, you know what? Our business was going through this. Or, hey, like we were under bad management. Or we did that. Because a lot of the time when you see especially when it's such like a hyper-specific business.
Yeah.
Right? They have one thing they do, and they're not doing the one thing they promised to do. It tends to be bad management and bad leadership at the top.
That makes sense.
It's not the collective of workers that are fucking up. It tends to be the 1 or 2 people at the top, and it just trickles down.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it can make for good content and all that nonsense, but also like
it's where my mind goes.
No, and that's fair enough, because again, you are trying to build your own brand and you want to build the podcast the best potential it can be. I understand that. Trust me, I understand that. But at the same time, the more human aspect of it, which could lead to a better episode, is like, okay, well, like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
You had to bring, like, again, the appliances to a wedding. You didn't have to cook one chicken, bro.
For real, like what happened?
Like what the fuck happened?
I just want to know what happened.
So, and then I said this beforehand off off camera, but y'all's studio setup is great.
Oh, thank you, bro.
It looks cool. Like
we haven't second guessed it, but we want to improve it, or we're like,
so
is it good enough?
So why
we've switched like 5 times?
So why the records on the table, and what records are there?
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know one name of the records because we got them on eBay or Amazon, and it was just a collection.
They look cool.
Yeah,
they look cool.
And that's the idea. Is it's where we DJ, we spin records and all of that. And we wanted it to look cool. We also have the mic from our first podcast.
That's cool.
That's like we used to just put a centralized mic and talk, and now we've got these fancy mics. These are nice. These arms, I like these a lot.
Thank you.
We have a couple, but I like the look and feel of this. We're trying to get more uniform with ours as well. So I
gotta say, if you are gonna buy boom arms, don't buy the ones I have.
Really?
No, I'm serious, dude.
Shit.
I don't know what.
We got the cheap ones on Amazon.
Well, because
$20 ones.
They look good.
They make a lot of noise.
I don't.
When you move them, it's like
So do these too. Sometimes
I want the one. What's his name? Theo Vaughn has, or like all these podcasters, because they move.
The best, I'd say, the best ones to buy. So here's the thing, right? So these ones I bought. A lot of what I did equipment-wise was based off of Rogan and what he does.
Smart.
And just goes, okay.
Because it's successful. Yeah, it's a good pod.
Yeah, exactly. I see it on camera. I'll buy those. They're expensive. I got some help. Okay, whatever. These gator arms broke within the first 6 months.
No shit.
Like, like this one, you can't fasten right here.
Oh,
like
shit.
Thank God. It doesn't really even stay like that. But
that
thank God that I wanted to hold right here. So you see this little knob right here?
Yeah.
So that is supposed to be right here, but I just have a lug nut that holds it in place. Yeah, you can't see it on camera.
Yeah, right.
But it's how it's supposed to be. These are they're usually
stiff.
They're usually a lot more squeakier.
They're noisy enough.
But you can still fuck with them and they hold well, right?
Yeah. I have a problem. I'm too fidgety. I always will move shit. I tried not to because I understand.
If I were to buy brand new boom arms today, I would buy the ones that are made by Rode.
Yeah,
Rode is really good. The thing, you're gonna spend a little bit more money, and it's for good reason. But if I were to, the Rode ones are about 80 to 100 a pop. But what's cool about these guys? And these will run you.
We buy speaker stands. Frameworks speaker stands do really well.
Yeah, yes, they do. I agree. But with these guys, what's really cool is they have an integrated XLR cable. So this cable runs into the arm, runs all the way down, comes out the bottom. So there's a lot of wire management you're not seeing because it's
so clean.
Well, because it's stapled under the table. I was telling me and my buddy. So me and my homie, we spent until like 4 a.m. He did a lot of the work, but we coiled up the cables, Velcroed them, and then we zip tied them, and then stapled the zip ties to the top or the bottom of the table. Right. So it has an XLR cable that goes down, and then so with these mics, and I was just talking about this. With the last guy that I had on. So with these mics, you can't just plug these mics into a audio interface. You need a power condenser because these put out so much power. You need something that can control it, and the little mechanism, the tech, it controls how much power goes from the mic into that, so it doesn't blow this out. Right. Not even like literally fries it, but what it does, it makes the levels just zoom out. The EQ's out horrible, absolutely horrible. So you have this XLR that goes and it feeds into the condenser, and then from the condenser you put another XLR and it goes into that. Right. So that's what's cool about these is you're getting a high a high quality XLR cable in the boom stand.
Nice.
So it's worth
ours is just Velcroed. We have an XL. It's a mic. It's a Shure mic. I can't remember which one, but it's just Velcroed.
And this is nice. And that's what's nice about the Rode ones, though, is those ones are very sleek. They're lightweight as hell.
Okay.
And they have little clamps at the top where you run the XLR cable along it.
Nice.
So you're not missing a whole lot. And then if you really wanted to, I'm sure you could just run the XLR along the side because it has a Velcro not a Velcro, it has a mesh thing.
Yeah.
That's probably
go in
about that that long, so you just run the cable this way, and you can just tape it or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like zip tie it or some shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, who gives a fuck what you do? But no, your guys' setup is really fucking cool.
I appreciate that.
I like the
man.
lights.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I'm glad you like it because we think about it.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm looking forward to because in February we're moving out of this house into a new one.
Yep.
And I'm very much looking forward to having a upward light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I have a buddy. So you know those tube lightings.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm gonna get a link to some lighting. I'll send you a link to get you some good.
Yeah.
These tube lighting is so clean, so great for weddings and different things like that. But it's also great for our podcast because we used almost 9-10 of them. You don't see any of them, and they're lighting the shit out of us, right?
It's awesome.
It's great. It's great lighting for us, and then we have some cool ambient lighting to look at.
That's cool.
We'll start season 2 next year, but we're trying to figure out now, how do we improve this look? What do we make this look different? How do we make this look better?
The only advice I can give is make it yourself.
We need a second camera.
Like, don't.
You were telling me you watched Brad. You just looked at Brad's back of his head the whole time, I'm sure. Brad Tillerson.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. He was.
I love this.
You saw his side profile for sure. Yeah, I agree.
What
with
are
that.
you using for these?
I'll send you the link.
I'm telling you, we use an iPhone.
Yeah. Okay. I'll send you the link to these. They are Panasonic. We just went over it. It has a whole nomenclature of a bunch of letters and numbers.
Were they pricey?
Yeah.
Over budget premium?
They're about $800.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then, all right.
Yeah, but they do the job, and
they look great.
Yeah, they're good
on the
quality.
pod.
And thank you. And you know what, man? I have bubble wrapped them and thrown them in that tough box right there.
They're tough.
And
okay.
they've come with me out of city multiple times.
Cool.
They've traveled
That's
me.
good to know.
They've traveled with me across the city.
And they don't record. A lot of cameras I heard stop at like 30 minutes or 40 minutes.
Fuck no.
Nice.
This
they just
goes.
roll?
These go as long as your SD card will allow you.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, these go as long as your card will allow you. They stay plugged in the whole time.
Yeah, you just plug them in.
And like I said, these things have survived 2 moves.
Cool.
Because I went from my first studio. I was living with my ex.
And your 1080p, all the good
4K.
shit. I mean, it looks. I know what I'm looking at when I watch.
Yeah,
YouTube,
they
4K.
shoot in true 4K.
Nice.
The bit rate is pulled down a little bit because I don't know what the fuck happened with the last Premiere Pro update like last year. But what happened is when I first started doing this podcast, 4K episode, 2.5 hours long, maybe 15 gigabytes or so.
Sure.
Now they're like 70 gigabytes, 80 gigabytes.
What?
The bit rate. I don't know what happened. So now I turn my
That's insane.
Yeah. So I turn my bit rate down a lot, but because it's like I'm shooting a podcast.
Yeah.
95% of the camera of what's on camera is static.
Yeah.
Aside from me move.
Well, question for you: are you getting more people on YouTube or Spotify?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Really? Yeah, YouTube. Wow. YouTube for sure. I mean, my Spotify directly tracks with how much I upload, but then again, I don't get a whole lot of views per episode for sure.
Okay.
Or I guess streams per episode.
Yeah.
Because there is a whole other side to Spotify marketing that I don't know.
I'm right there with you. We're trying to,
I offer the service.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I know a lot of people, like even for me, I will throw a podcast on YouTube, but only listen to it. And then I'll just glance at my phone or I'll glance at my.
That's how I watched yours. I do work and I have a second screen at work.
Same. That's how I treat podcasts too.
And so I just put the pod on and just do my thing. And it's nice because you could just listen to it's like you're hanging out in the convo, but
that's
then
the goal.
Doing work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the goal for sure.
That's what I liked about, no, I'm drawing a blank. The comedian.
Buck D?
No.
Josh Fournier.
Yes.
Yeah, he's cool.
He is so cool.
He's cool.
I loved his stories. I loved watching his pod because you just feel like you're hanging out with him. I'm doing my work and all this, and I'm just like,
he's a good guy.
Yeah,
Josh is a real good guy.
Yeah. His strip club stories. Yeah,
doing comedy in the strip club. Yeah,
I really enjoyed them. Actually, I appreciated his stuff because it's funny because that's just his life.
Yeah,
but as a random guy, I'm like, oh wow, this is
funny.
If
you have the opportunity,
I want to go see him.
Check him out live, man.
We want to go see him.
I've seen him live 3 or 4 times now, and he's really, really great.
I haven't hit up any local stand-up comedy scene here, and I want to. So.
I could point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
I want to see you.
There's a lot. No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You want to see me in 3 to 4 years when I know what I'm doing.
I want to see you now. So in 3 to 4 years, I can be like, fuck yeah, I saw that guy bomb.
Yeah, I saw him when he sucked. But yeah, there's a lot of really great comedy here. But anyway. Okay. So yeah, those run about 8 or so, and they're good. They do the job. They do the job very well. Yeah. Very happy to have them. I've got $800 cameras on $20 fucking tripods, but what are you gonna do?
You just need that shit to be steady, so you're fine.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly. And then what was I going to say about? There's one more thing I was going to tell you about hardware. Oh yeah, it's still just the lighting in general. Like I'm looking forward to getting better lighting in the new place. And
nice. When you move, you said in a month?
No, in February.
Oh, excuse me.
In a few months. Yeah. Nice. But yeah, your guys' setup is really well thought out. I like the TV you guys have on camera.
I appreciate it.
It looks good.
Yeah.
How do you choose guests?
We are honestly just going random on who wants to show up. But also too, like we're trying to be methodical. We're trying to understand, like, if we did have a photographer on, we don't want more photographers on right off the bat. So now we're like, let's get a florist on. We're trying to get into those avenues that are just kind of random. But then I really want to get another wedding DJ company on. I think it'd be sick to have a competitor on.
Yeah,
because that would be cool. Because a lot of these competitors, I mean, there's some of them we don't really talk to a lot, and there's some that are just cool as hell. Yeah. And they're like, hey, we DJ wedding. So a fun fact, like 2-3 years ago, we just looked this up on our last pod. It's now like 9,000 weddings happened before COVID in New Mexico. After COVID, on average, 15,000 weddings are happening in New Mexico. Right? And so if I'm doing if I'm capping at 40.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you guys are only booking like a collective of, let's round up and say 150. That's crazy.
There's so much. There's a wedding for everybody. That's why I push other people. Like,
hey,
I can only do so many.
You don't love your ex that much. Don't go back to him, bro.
You don't. You don't need it.
15,000?
Yeah. In New Mexico. But you know,
so how much of that is outsiders coming to Mexico to do it?
A lot.
Okay. That makes sense.
I'd say about 70 to 80% of my clients are from out of state.
No shit.
Now, from a lot of them are, I'd say a good chunk. One of them is like from New Mexico, and they want to like showcase their state. But they have all moved to Chicago, Miami, New York.
Right.
And then they hit us up and they're like, you guys are the best. We want you. Let's make it happen. Right. And so because we've kind of established that, it somewhat gets not necessarily easier, but because, like I've said, we had the systems in place, I ask the right questions. I know what I'm looking for. And it's kind of, it's a well-oiled machine. So it's nice. I like it because, I'm booking September, August next year. My May is already full. My April is already full. Nothing in January. But we'll probably go on vacation. We'll probably go do something. You know what I mean? Like that's
sick.
We'll probably go on a road trip or something like that. And now I'm mindful of that to understand, okay, money's good. Money's flowing. Budget that out. Put that away because it won't be the same in January. But that's fine because you'll pay your bills. You'll have your things paid and you'll be prepping for the next year. That's so
badass.
And it's just it's finding the balance, bro. Like that's been the biggest thing because in the past 2 years, this has been the first time I've ever felt comfortable. Yeah. Like I'm not just trying to live check to check. This is where I'm okay. I'm making money, doing my thing. But it's been...
But you've worked for 7.5 years to get to that point?
Yeah, it took a while.
That can't be undermined.
And we talk about how you build that credibility, right? And that's just, you have to do it for a little while for them to feel confident that, he'll kill your wedding.
I trust you with the most important of our... For real. That's fucking... And that's why I love talking to people like you that are doing their own thing.
I love that you're talking to different DJs and like different people or like different avenues, right? Because like I said, like we're crushing it, but like somebody could look at me and be like, oh, he's not doing it right. And I'm like, well, I'm living great. But also others can look at me and be like, oh, that's all I want. Yeah. I just want to be full time.
I just think it's great, man. I think it's great, the type of person that can really go out there and put in the time and they manage to make it for themselves on their, like, obviously along your story, there is a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of networking. There's a lot of luck.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of abstract elements we haven't touched on that are your own. Yeah. Right? That there's a lot of things that came to mind when I said that, right? There's a lot of moments, a lot of like opportunities you thought you missed, but in reality you did this and this and that. There's a lot of abstract variables in your story, but at the same time, those would have never have come if you didn't start and then keep going. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people miss. It's like there's not a set path. I'm like,
keep going, y'all.
Like, I don't keep going. Because I work a 9 to 5. I'm on salary. You know what I mean? I don't shit on people that do that. But if you want to go into entertainment, if you want to go into any kind of abstract, like no real path, no real, like this is how you do it to be famous type of endeavor or job, the only common denominator is it's going to take you a long time to be sustainable. You might see people that pop and get viral or go crazy on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, but it's going to take time to be sustainable. Like my favorite example of that right now is, I don't know how much into stand-up comedy you are.
Okay.
But
I love stand-up.
Okay, do you watch Kill Tony?
I know Kill Tony. Okay. I don't watch it, but I know.
So there's a brand new regular. His name is Cam Patterson.
Okay.
Fucking hilarious. He is a monster. It is so ridiculous how naturally funny he is.
Really?
His personality, his delivery.
I've been seeing the guy who likes rocks.
Yes, him.
That's him?
That's Cam Patterson.
No way.
Yes.
Dude, he is so fucking funny.
He is fucking hilarious. And
they had him on for a second time, right? I just saw
he's a regular.
Oh, okay.
And so I actually DM'd him on Instagram. And I was like, dude, like, you're fucking hilarious. And we went back and forth a little bit.
I'm not retarded, but I like rocks.
Me and him went back and forth on Instagram a little bit. Very nice guy.
Nice.
He very nice. He actually took the time to like answer my messages, and we actually talked.
Oh, cool.
We talked comedy for a little bit, not very long, but like he's a nice guy. But he's fucking hilarious, and it is ridiculous to get his delivery, execution. But the interesting thing now is he's been a regular on Kill Tony since June, so it's like okay. And he's also going out and doing live shows. He's going on small spots on tours. Like he's really branching out.
Yeah.
He's only been doing comedy for like 2.5 years.
Wow.
Diamond in the rough. But he deserves what he's experiencing right now.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is going to be, how does he maintain longevity?
Yeah.
And I have
stay relevant.
Yeah. And I have every bit of confidence that he's going to keep doing it, because he's
funny.
He's naturally funny. Like in his interview, he's naturally funny, because what they do for Kill Tony is they do 60 minutes of stand-up and then they do an interview after. Because at the end of the day, it's a podcast.
Yeah.
It's a live podcast.
Yeah.
His writing in his 60 minutes is on point. It's funny. And if there's 15 seconds where there's no laugh, there's a fucking slobber knocker at the end of that 20 seconds.
Nice.
Because of how good his punchlines are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm curious to find out what he looks like in year 5, what he looks like in year 8, because he's going to keep going. He's a staff member at Joe Rogan's Comedy Club now.
Yeah.
He's a regular on Kill Tony, and I'm interested to see where that longevity really pans out to.
And you're right. I think that's a big thing, is being able to stay relevant as you continue to move forward, because shit does not stay the same. I'm not marketing. I'm not advertising. I'm not doing the same shit that I was 5 years ago. And it just changes. And you really have to be able to move with the times and be able to evolve. One of the big things for us, not why we mainly started the podcast, but we understood trends are moving that way. Podcasts are like clippable moments are moving that way. And why not have one? Because we're the only one in our industry doing it, in our local. Like, everybody's doing it, right? But that's why we're so unique. We have these 60 people in our New Mexico market that are like, yo, we love your pod. And we're like, what the fuck? That's so cool.
Yeah,
like,
that's sick.
Because they're listening and they're appreciating what we're saying, because we understand we're very niche. but we're also right aligning with who we need to have. We post nice consumable clips, and I think there's a lot of value in having just these different guests on, getting their opinion, hearing their story. And I love podcasts because it's like you're hanging out with them in a different setting. I hang out with Brad Tilliston all the time at weddings, DJing and doing different things, but to sit with him in a setting where we just get to shoot the shit, you get to learn about them more and really get to hang out. And as a viewer, you feel like you get to appreciate that person and hang out with that person more too. So that was cool.
I agree.
Like Slums, the drummer from Slums. I never heard that guy say a word, and to hear him on your pod, I was like, that guy's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so stuff like that.
Nick's the shit, dude.
Yeah.
I love talking. Like, those are all really great guys. But
Favreau,
I love,
bro. I want to see Favreau live now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a cool dude. So what we're gonna close out on is a question you asked me a little bit ago.
Okay.
The best Batman.
Oh shit. Yes.
It's Ben Affleck. It's Ben Affleck.
Really?
There's no question. For me.
Why?
Here's why. So I've been reading comic books. Like, comic books are how I learned to read. Like,
Cool.
obviously I went to fucking school and shit, but like outside of school I read comics.
Yeah.
Like I read Watchmen for the first time when I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And do you know what Watchmen is?
Yes.
Okay,
I
cool.
saw the movie.
Okay, cool. The book is great. Like the graphic novel is great. It's the most, like, you can find Watchmen in almost every comic book store, at every Barnes and Noble. If you have $20 to throw away, go buy it.
Okay.
It's worth your time.
It's just like a book?
Yeah, it's a graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
It's,
My bad,
it's
my bad.
no,
Yeah, I
yeah,
gotcha.
but it's a collected book. Like,
Yes.
it's 12
I see.
issues.
Okay.
It's 12 issues long. It's considered the best graphic novel ever written.
Damn.
Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, 1986, 87-ish.
Yeah.
I read that for the first time. I was way too young due to its graphic content, but also just the themes and the way it's written. I didn't understand what was happening.
Kind of.
Yeah, it deals with a lot of, so it happens during the Vietnam War into the Cold War, and it's like, what if superheroes were real? What if there was a
Interesting.
Like, you saw the movie, so Dr.
Yeah,
Manhattan
exactly.
and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
So I've been reading comics for like a very long time.
Nice.
Very, very long time.
Okay.
And so everyone figures out like what they love in their favorite characters. Like, I know what I like in my Batman. Like, I like the dark.
I feel that. I know what I like in my Batman.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everyone has their, when I say Batman, Spider-Man, Captain America,
They have their
Daredevil,
version.
Wonder Woman, anyone on the street
Yeah.
thinks about, oh, I really liked the Justice League animated series when I was growing up. Oh,
Yeah.
I like Gal Gadot.
Right? Something that they connected with.
I like Christian Bale. Like, they immediately, or Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man. Like, they all go to their version. And then they also have, like, the more media they consume, you have this version of the character in your head. And so for me, well, okay, if we're talking Batman overall, my favorite version of Batman is Kevin Conroy, the animated series.
Yeah.
The anime, because it's funny because they,
That one's solid. I mean,
because
they said video games.
Yeah, because they said the Arkham trilogy video games is a
I
continuation.
saw you playing the Arkham trilogy on your socials. You were playing Arkham City?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I threw up in my story. Yeah.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
Love
so
these games.
so they said when Arkham Asylum was coming out that game trilogy is a continuation of the Batman animated series.
No kidding.
Yeah. So Arkham Knight, the way that ends, that's how Batman animated series, New Adventures of Batman and Robin, and then all of that. That's how that story ends.
No shit. Wow.
So that's really cool. Yeah, it's cool, right? So if I'm talking Batman overall, that's my favorite. Like, that, there is no better version.
That's my Batman. That's who I grew up with. Just happened to pick up that video game Asylum in like 8th, 10th grade or whatever, and you just, this game fucking sick. And you have to play City. You got to play Asylum.
I love Arkham Origins too. I fuck with Arkham Origins heavy.
Origins.
I fuck with it heavy.
I like playing it during Christmas.
Yeah, same. Right? And out of all those 4 games, that Deathstroke boss fight in Origins is one of the best.
Oh, it pissed me off every damn time.
It's fucking crazy, man. But anyway, if we're talking live action, my favorite is Affleck. And the reason,
what is he doing? Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason that I love Affleck is so in Batman versus Superman, you meet a Batman that is so different than any other version because every other version of Batman is like the origin story. He's coming up. His parents just died.
Yeah.
He's figuring out how to be a vigilante, that kind of thing. Okay. And this is no disrespect to what Christopher Nolan did. I have my issues with that trilogy and it is what it is, but I like the trilogy. But with Affleck's version, what Zack Snyder did with his Batman is they went into Batman that is more familiar. Like, the more comics you read, the more familiar you are with that Batman.
Yeah.
It's a Batman because there's so much that you have to read in between the lines that I understand why general audiences were like, why the fuck does he have guns? Why the fuck is he killing people? Why is he this way?
People were hurt about
Why is he
that,
telling Alfred to go fuck himself? And like, what is going on? And all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I looked at that Batman, like the biggest criticism was Batman doesn't kill. Why does he have machine guns? And he kills people in BVS. Mm-hmm. He does. Like, that's not even a question. But for me, and I agree, Batman doesn't kill people. He's not the Punisher. Right. And Batman in that movie does not grab an assault rifle or a pistol and go dome people. Like, no, like it's murder, but it's like, you get in my way of my objective, you're going to die. Exactly. Sorry. I don't care about your life anymore. And the way I see that is they make it, there's a really good scene.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I have to use the restroom.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's take a piss break. Let's do it.
Just really quick.
No, you're good. Let's do it. So I got to pee too. No, because I got to pee too. I have got to pee too.
I was fighting it so bad. Bad, dude.
No, dude, I had to pee too. I feel you. I had to pee too. Okay.
I was appreciating the Batman debate.
Yeah, so here's why he's my favorite. Okay. So he's been Batman for 20 years. And there's a really good scene where he's talking to Alfred. And they're talking about Alfred's trying to convince him to not fight Superman.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where he's like, it's suicide. Like, he's an alien. He's going to laser you in half. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And Batman Alfred tells him, like, he's not our enemy. He's trying to do the right thing. Like, don't do this. And I think what's really important about that movie is it opens up with the Battle of Metropolis between Zod and Superman.
Okay, yep.
And all these buildings are getting leveled, and Bruce Wayne pretty much experiences another 9/11, right?
Yeah.
So he's looking at this alien figure after 20, well, I guess technically 18 and a half. After 18 and a half years of being Batman, at this point, he's lost a Robin. He's dealt with Joker. I'm assuming that Barbara Gordon has already been paralyzed and raped by the Joker.
Okay.
He's gone through all these different things with his villains.
Dang. Didn't know that about Barbara Gordon.
Oh yeah, so there's a really good comic. It's one of the most famous Joker comics.
I knew she was handicapped.
Yeah,
or
so
became.
the reason she's handicapped is in '98. Same guy who wrote Watchmen. Funny thing, Alan Moore. He wrote a book called The Killing Joke, and
I saw that on. I liked The Killing Joke on Max.
That sucks compared to the book.
Oh shit!
That whole opening thing where Batman and Batgirl
the way it ended.
Fuck.
Yeah,
that's stupid. That's not there. But the whole Joker part of it, that's the book, for the most part.
Book's better.
But yeah, the book's way better. So anyway, in the book, Joker goes to he finds out who Batgirl is, because you got to figure at the time when those books are being written, Batgirl, the Barbara Gordon version, was at the front and center. Like, she was one of the main sidekicks for Batman. So that's why they were, okay, well, Joker's going to really do some horrible things.
Yeah.
Joker goes, shoots her, and rapes her.
Okay.
And then so there's an original version of the book, and you can find the images online, but there's an original version of the book where, do you remember the part where Commissioner Gordon is going through the tunnel of love and he sees all the pictures of Barbara?
Yes. Yes.
So there's a version of the book where he sees pictures of her naked. Yeah, after she got raped. Jesus. It's horrible. Yeah. Oh no, it's absolutely graphic.
Right.
But anyway, so I figure, okay, well,
Batman's wild. That's why I like DC though.
Yeah.
DC don't fuck around.
Yeah. So Batman's gone through all these horrible, this version.
Yeah.
Has gone through all these horrible things, and now there's an alien who can shoot lasers out of his eyes, knock down buildings, and he has killed, as far as Bruce knows, has killed the only last surviving person in his race. Fuck this, we're using machine guns.
Right?
Fuck this.
Like, I'm not...
Yeah, fuck this, we're done.
I'm past this moral...
Yeah, we're done. Like, he's like, I'm not going to go dome people, but at the same time, I got to fight an alien now.
I got some alien asshole just shooting lasers at me. What do you want?
This is fucking bullshit. And then what I love about that Batman too...
pretty funny, though.
It's facts, though,
yeah,
right?
It is facts.
So then... in the movie, he does a lot of he's very much like Batman the detective, right? Like he does a lot of detective work that is done.
Batman.
His version of Bruce Wayne is amazing. I think Pattinson could have his Bruce Wayne beat.
I like Pattinson.
It depends on what they do in the next, because they're obviously gonna do a trilogy. That movie made so much fucking money. They're gonna do a trilogy. But depending on how they flesh out Pattinson's Bruce is gonna depend on like if I like his more than Affleck's. But for now, I love the way Affleck portrays Bruce Wayne. He's the very aloof, but you can kind of tell there's something brooding underneath.
Yeah.
There's like an anger under there. That's like, he doesn't want to be at a party right now. He doesn't want to be at a benefit. He doesn't, he wants to go like this is a very corny thing to say now, but like Batman is the real person. Bruce Wayne is the mask.
Yeah.
So he's like inching, like there's a moment, and it's just because Ben Affleck is such a great actor. There's a moment where he gets caught near the computer servers, and Mercy Graves comes down and she goes, "Did you get lost or whatever?" And he goes, "I was looking for the bathroom." And she tells him what the bathroom. He's like, "Okay, yeah, I had a couple martinis too many. I like your shoes." And he walks, and he has a smile, but it like creeps down, and he tells that like, "I can't be here forever." And he's angry.
Oh, wow.
Right? There's these little acting moments that Affleck does as Batman that are really good. And then people, and I get it because the execution wasn't the best, but people clown on the Martha scene a lot. Like, why did you say that name?
Yeah.
Like, and my whole thing with that is like, well, you got to think this is a Batman. And because that, I think I really do think if that scene didn't get clowned on so much, and if they would have taken that to the writer's room a little bit more, thought about how to better execute it, that movie would not have gotten shat on so much, because that is the climax of not the fight with Doomsday, not the fight with Batman vs Superman. The real climax of the movie is Batman about to kill Superman, but then he realizes that if he does this, he is no better than Joe Chill killing his parents.
Yeah.
He has now become the man that's killing his parents, right?
Yeah.
And that's why he has the flashback. And he has actual PTSD. Like if you watch that movie, he has an actual PTSD trigger.
Moment, where it happens.
And his trigger is his mom.
Exactly.
Like that's some fucking deep
real shit.
That's some deep shit. But again, with the way that it was executed, the way it was edited, the way it was acted, it's like, Martha, why did you say Martha? Like, and I can look at that objectively as a viewer and be like, oh fuck.
That's tough because you understand the true story behind it and you understand what they're trying to say.
But the execution was like, not as good as it should have been, you know?
Interesting.
And so
I like the take.
Yeah, and I think it really was soured with the way the Justice League came out in 2017. They really fucked that up. DC really fucked that up. They did a real bad thing to Zack Snyder by kicking him out. And
what do you think about the new revamp? Like with them restarting everything?
I hope it does well. Like I don't want
I'm excited for Aquaman too.
Like okay.
Are you not?
So, okay, that's not the revamp. That's the remnants of what DC is right now.
Yeah. That's fair.
I didn't see. Okay, I've been going to comic book movies in the theaters religiously since The Dark Knight.
Did you see Blue Beetle?
No.
Okay.
No. The first comic book movie.
I was ready for you to say yes.
Yeah, the first comic book movie that I didn't see in theaters was Shazam 2. Yeah, I didn't give a fuck because what happened with Black Adam. Because I hated
Black Adam was so bad.
I hated Black Adam.
So disappointed.
But I was like, you know what? If I have to sit through 90 minutes of slodge so I can get Henry Cavill, I will sit through that.
Fair.
That's fine, whatever. And then they canned Henry Cavill a month after he came back. So like, go fuck yourself, right? You're just playing with the guy. And then so I was like, all right, well, let's see what happens with Shazam, I guess. And I heard Shazam wasn't bad.
I didn't mind it, but I wasn't disappointed I didn't see it in theaters. I was
yeah.
glad I saw it for free.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have any real like, and I got a buddy of mine who's a studio insider with
nice.
WB.
Oh,
so
cool.
So he told me about like the Wonder Woman cameo, and I was like,
Nice.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I wish I cared.
Yeah.
Like if that
I get you.
if that Wonder Woman cameo, if this was a different universe that we're living in, and that Wonder Woman cameo was her resurrecting Shazam, being like, Darkseid is coming,
Doing something
we need
big.
you alive.
Yeah.
You know, because they're continuing. Did you see the 4-hour Justice League?
No, I did
Watch
not.
it.
Okay.
Watch it, dude.
Okay.
Seriously.
I'm gonna watch it.
Even if it takes you a couple of days, like
Watch it
it's,
in pieces,
Yeah,
but-
it's legit because it's broken up into chapters.
Okay.
It's legitimately one of the best.
Max did it, right? Yeah.
It's
Okay.
one of the best superhero movies ever made. Like for
watch it
real.
tomorrow.
Seriously, it's one of the best superhero movies ever made. And like one of my roommates, Springer, he's actually in Las Vegas, New Mexico right now as a paramedic.
Oh, nice.
He's an EMT up there. And he doesn't give a shit about comic movies anymore. And he watched it and was like, okay, I'm interested now. What are they going to
Wow.
do? Yeah, it's good. So, like, at the end of that movie where they tease Darkseid and all that stuff, if she would have revived Shazam, like, we need to fight the legions of Darkseid and the hordes of Apocalypse.
Really bought into the story.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like her cameo in The Flash, where she showed up, she did a thing, and she left.
Yeah.
She was up in Flash, she saves Batman, and she leaves. Like, it's because they don't care. And I get why they don't care, because James Gunn is running the show now.
Yeah, now they're trying
he
to...
cares about his new universe that he's building, and he's being very coy about what actors are coming back and what actors aren't.
Yeah.
And what's silly to me is that they're bringing back Peacemaker, but he's already confirmed that everything that has come out from DC, aside from Blue Beetle, doesn't matter.
So is he... Oh, so... Cena will still be Peacemaker, but
So
he's a
Cena.
whole...
So did you watch Peacemaker?
I didn't see the show. I like Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Was it 1 or 2?
So
but
Peacemaker was actually pretty well written. I was surprised.
You liked it?
So yeah, he goes through a really emotional arc with his father. But it sucks that it's like, what? That's not going to get built on. They're just going to wipe it away.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah,
that whole storyline.
Yeah, they're going to wipe it away.
That sucks.
And so I want the new DC stuff to matter, and I want people to accept it. I hope it's good. I'll probably go watch the new Superman movie when it comes out in like 2025. Realistically, in 2026, because all the writer strikes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll go watch it, but I don't have any expectations just because everything that I really wanted in a DC universe is what Snyder was doing. And that's not going to happen. Like, I don't, like, me personally, and again, this is because I've been ingesting this media for the last almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't want a super happy-go-lucky Superman right off the bat. Nah. Like, I loved what Cavill was doing. I loved the fact that he was going to grow into the Man of Steel.
Yeah, like having a struggle and learning how to be.
He was going to turn into that, right?
Exactly.
I love the fact that they had a broken and bruised Batman that was going to learn how to be the Caped Crusader again.
I agree.
Right? I love
so much better.
And they're mentoring all these heroes to eventually fight Darkseid and eventually like do all this. And what they were gonna originally do with like Darkseid shows up to Earth and wins and turns it into like the Apocalypse world, and it's called the Nightmare. And they have to like, and it was gonna be this whole story where like Batman and some villains and some heroes in this like Mad Max style world, we're gonna have to like siege an evil Superman and fight Darkseid. Half of them were gonna die just so Flash can go back in time and reset the timeline. And it was gonna be a sick thing. Like, it's all on the internet.
So
if you want to
awesome,
read it.
man.
But now it's like Superman reboot.
Right.
You know what I mean? And say what you want. Say what you want about DC. But like Marvel had such a good thing going on for so long. Like up until, I think the general consensus is Marvel was amazing until Endgame, and then No Way Home was awesome because Toby came back and Andrew came back.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but say what you want about DC, but if they would have stayed on track, they would be outpacing Marvel so hard right now.
Easily. That story sounds insane. I would way buy into that, because what I like is that Batman's buying into the old, like the bad guys, and like it's everybody just coming together to fucking defeat the main enemy at the end.
Well, since you haven't seen it, I'm not. They shot a scene.
This is the Snyder version
for the Snyder cut of Justice League.
I'll watch it soon.
They shot an extra scene during the pandemic.
Oh wow!
and he had Ben Affleck amongst. Do you know about that scene at all?
No.
I don't want to spoil it. Then I'm
Okay.
shocked you don't know about it.
Okay.
So they had Ben
it's a
Affleck.
scene,
Yeah, they
2020
had, yeah,
time. Okay,
they
I'll
had
look into
they had Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher, and then Ezra Miller actually shot a scene in London on a green screen. They had that scene like data transferred over.
Damn.
So because it was all like because he was shooting Fantastic Beasts,
Sure.
the Harry Potter movie.
Yeah.
And they had a couple other actors show up to shoot this post-apocalyptic scene, and it's really good. And it's
Is it on like YouTube?
it's on YouTube, but it's at the end of the Justice League movie.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
then
so
perfect.
it's at the end of the movie, and it's like 80% CGI because they shot it literally in Snyder's driveway, and then the studio found out about it, and they were like, "I guess we'll use a lot. That's fine, dickhead."
Yeah,
right? So it's really good. It's and I want the new movies to succeed. I want the new stuff to do well, but like so who's your Batman? Because everyone has their own. Who's yours?
Clooney. No. I loved Clooney growing up, but there's something about Bale that he hit me in a pivotal time where I really appreciated the stories that he was giving, and
So that's your dude right there.
that's my guy.
Yeah.
I appreciate Bale a lot.
Yeah.
But I liked your perspective a lot because of the comic book perspective. I am very much on the other end where I've just seen a lot of the animated series, a lot of the TV media.
Yeah.
And then the video games really got me into investigative Batman. Like and how much of a badass of an investigator he is.
He's the world's greatest
He's
detective.
so fucking smart, dude. It's insane.
Yeah,
And I just love that. He is the world's greatest detective. He's just so smart. I've read that he's got like a kryptonite, or he was with the Justice League, but he have every weakness of every Justice
so
League
there's
members.
a Justice League story from the
something like that.
90s. It's called the Tower of Babel, and they made it. Since you have Max, go watch Justice League Doom.
Okay.
It's a storyline where Batman has a plan to debilitate every Justice League hero, but the villains get a hold of it and they alter the plans to figure out a way to kill every Justice League character.
That's sick.
It's
Like, wow.
It's like an hour and 15 minutes long.
Okay.
It's a solid watch. Dude.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
And it's got Kevin Conroy and the original voice actors from the animated series. So watch that.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, Bale's probably the guy. That's just the one that, like, dude, I saw Dark Knight probably like 6-7 times. I saw that they're re-releasing it this season or whatever, and so I might go see it again just to get that feeling, recreate it. But yeah, I've always loved Batman. Spider-Man's probably my favorite hero, but like Batman's just always had a special place in my heart just because of how badass he is with like little to what was given to him. Yes, he's got a lot of money, but he's had to figure it out with that money, right? So to be able to be a badass with no superpowers is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what I loved about the trilogy is it was an original, hyper-realistic take on Batman, but there were these quiet, like, references and homages to the comics. Like, it's still recognized that this isn't just a dude in a weird suit. This is still Batman.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. Ben Affleck's my favorite actor to be Batman, but Batman Begins is still my favorite Batman movie. Like,
wow.
Batman Begins is
so fire, bro.
It's so good. It's so simple. And what I loved about it is it had the feel of Batman Year One by Frank Miller, where he makes mistakes. He makes like that scene where he's trying to investigate where the drugs are coming from and like the teddy bears.
Yeah.
And he gets set on fire. And he falls off a fucking apartment building. And he has to call Alfred. Like, that's an early Batman who's way in over his head.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Just figuring it out. Yeah.
The biggest crime of that whole trilogy is they went from that suit to the Dark Knight suit. I hate the Dark Knight suit.
Do you?
He looks like a SWAT member with a vague VAT symbol on it, dude. I hate that suit so much.
That's funny.
But then at the same time, it's like, I get why.
Yeah.
Because it's servicing the story.
Yeah, right. They even talk about it in the story, which is cool.
Like, that version of Batman would have an up-armored SWAT paramilitary style suit because of where the suit's coming from. It's literally the R&D department of Wayne Enterprises that was doing the military contracts.
Exactly.
I get it. I don't like it. but I get it.
So you're a cool Batman fan because you respect what they're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Well,
so you're like, well, it's not what I would go with, but I'm down.
But then there's the ridiculousness of the bat nipples and the bat credit card from George Clooney. So it's like, okay, that's a bit much. But I don't know.
The bat nipples.
But then, like, in The Dark Knight, where he's got his sonar vision, so he flicks on his eyes, and it looks like the glowing eyes from the comic books and the TV shows, right?
Okay, yeah.
Or in, like, Dark Knight Rises is a fun movie. There's a lot of plot holes, but it's a fun movie, kind of. But then it's like, okay, you're doing
of the three.
Yeah, for sure. But you're mixing Nightfall with No Man's Land, those good storylines, and they do it well enough. There's a lot of like Batman or comic book isms where it's like, how did he get out of the hole back to Gotham when Gotham's locked down? Okay, he's Batman. Okay, I love Batman, but I can only say that so many times. But like, I get it, right?
Yeah.
No, that trilogy was really good.
Nice.
And I respect why people say Christian Bale, because he's the best actor to play Batman for sure.
I like Keaton though too.
Keaton was fun.
Keaton's fucking solid. You know what I mean?
He was the best part of Flash.
Yeah.
There's not even a question about that.
Not a question. To see Keaton kicking ass, you were just like, oh, this is so sick. I was so happy they brought him back because to like, see all of it play out. And I liked that aspect of it, just to bring him back. And I liked his storyline, and that was cool.
Well, when they're fighting Zod, and then he's fighting the Kryptonian dude, and he's like hopping around planning the bombs.
Bad,
it's like,
bro.
oh shit. Like, obviously that's not a 70-year-old Michael Keaton in the suit, but it's like, it's cool to think that Batman.
That's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it's Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Exactly. That's cool.
Bruce Wayne has still got it.
That's cool to think that the Keaton version of Batman can still keep up. Like that's, and then when he's accepted the fact that he's just gonna die no matter what, like that's also like, I don't know. There's a lot of coolness in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, listen, man, that was 3 hours.
Dude, I have to say, I didn't think I was gonna have enough. I wrote personal notes today recapping what I wanted to talk about. I thought, oh God, I hope I am cool enough to talk about something for a certain amount of time. But like I said, you're killing it on this pod. It's so cool to be a part of it, and I'm grateful to be asked to be on it. So this is cool.
This is awesome having you on.
Appreciate you.
I'd love to have you back.
Love to be back, man.
This was great.
Would love to be back.
Before we get out of here, where can people find your personal social media? But then you're also like, you don't need my help booking your wedding shit. But where can people find all your?
Hey, you getting married? You need an event DJ'd, anything like that? You can go on to Xia Beats, Xia Beats. You can Google that. You can go to @Instagram @Xia Beats or Facebook. And you can also look up Cutmaster Music. That's a good one where you'll find Tony Pacheco. Xia Beats is the DJ Xia Nightlife. And then if you want a professional, you'll hire Tony Pacheco. You'll get the same guy regardless, but you'll get different kind of. Yeah. But Cutmaster Music, Xia Beats.
And the podcast. Where do people find the podcast?
The podcast, you can find it on YouTube and Spotify. It's called the Cutmaster Cast. We talk about a bunch of different wedding takes. Sometimes we're more geared towards wedding professionals, but we're also sometimes more geared towards brides planning a wedding as well. So we found ourselves being in this unique little niche. So it's cool.
Awesome. Well, listen, this was a blast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
This was a blast, man.
I appreciate it.
And thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.